Chapter 272. With the official stamp of approval, the Shui sisters couldn't criticize her even if they wanted to. Instead, they were ridiculed by passers-by. Some fans were jumping up and down in anger, while others suddenly came to their senses. Why are there so many people praising the vase fairy? Come to think of it, it seemed that probably this woman was quite outstanding. Many people turned from anti-fans to fans, and some even turned from anti-fans to fans of the couple on the spot. Country F. That's great. Viscount Albert has agreed to let us use the castle for the shoot. The creative director screamed excitedly. Shui smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work." Xiangyi said gently, "I'm counting on you for tomorrow's shoot." Okay. I'll make the arrangements right away." The creative director left happily. Shui's phone kept vibrating. He took it out and saw that it was another unknown number. He frowned and hung up the call. It seemed that the phone number had been leaked. He had no choice but to turn off his phone for the time being. In China, all is well year-round had changed more than 10 numbers, sending and calling Shui frantically, but he didn't reply to any of them. Why wouldn't he reply to her? She liked him so much that she had spent a lot of money just to get his phone number. The woman's eyes were full of morbid paranoia. She changed the servant's phone and called him again, however. A sweet robotic female voice sounded from the other end of the phone. "Hello, the subscriber you have dialed has turned off his phone." Turned off his phone? How could he turn off his phone? All is well year-round grabbed her hair and screamed in agony. The next day, it often rained in a city, but today was a rare day of sunny weather. An ancient and majestic building stood halfway up the mountain. The extravagant and gorgeous glass-inlaid windows and sculptures reflected mottled light and shadow. Shui got out of the car first and opened the door for Xiangyi like a gentleman. He was chatting with Xiangyi in a low voice when he was suddenly interrupted by a voice. "Hey Sure, stay away from my sister." Xiangyi looked up in surprise and met the eyes of her third brother, Xiangqi, who was not far away. "Brother." Xiangqi was dressed so fashionably that even supermodels would be ashamed of their inferiority. He walked towards Xiangyi and pulled Xiangyi behind him. He stared at Shui warily and said, "You're not allowed to talk to my sister." Shui blinked and looked at Xiangyi innocently and pitifully. He lowered his eyes and said to Xiangqi, "Okay, I got it." The moment a handsome, tall, and upright mature man showed a slight weakness, the lethality it brought was many times greater than that of a little puppy. Who could withstand this? As expected, Xiangyi wavered. "Brother, you should be more polite to Shui." Before Xiangqi could answer, Shui chuckled bitterly. "It's okay. I'm used to it." "Xiangqi. What the hell? Wasn't this person very arrogant before? He's not a good person." Xiangqi was going crazy. "Have you forgotten that he used to practice with Big Brother and bully us?" Xiangyi was confused. Did he? Xiangqi suddenly realized that the two demons would occasionally bully his second brother, Xiangli, and him and Xiangyu. They would often bully his little uncle, Xiangyu, however. They had never bullied Xiangyi. Suddenly, Shui tugged at Xiangyi's sleeve and complained in a low voice. "Sister E, he said bad things about me." "Xiangqi, why do you have two faces?" Chapter 273. However, Xiangqi felt that his sister wouldn't fall into such a simple trap. His gaze towards Shui was full of provocation. "Ha, naive. Do you think my sister will believe you?" Unexpectedly. "Brother, Shui is a very nice person. You should get along well with him, okay?" The girl looked up at him with clear and calm eyes, and her tone was quite sincere. Xiangqi was speechless. "Can't you tell that he's pretending?" Xiangqi was going crazy and pushed Shui. "If you don't believe me, you can see. When he was young, he had provoked Shui and was beaten to the point where he had to climb up a tree to escape. Crying his eyes out, however, this time Shui stumbled and staggered backward before barely regaining his balance. He pursed his thin lips and looked even more aggrieved. "Sister E, look, he even pushed me." "Brother." The girl looked fierce. "How could you do that?" Xiangqi was speechless. "Didn't I just King push you a little bit? Do you have to be so weak?" Shui blinked with an innocent look on his face. Xiangqi was so angry that he lost the ability to organize his words. The men's makeup and hair were done quickly. so they filmed Shui's solo scenes first. Xiangyi was in the dressing room when she vaguely heard screams coming from outside. Xiangqi, who was holding a needle and thread and making the final edits to his sister's dress, sneered. He's a womanizer who attracts bees and butterflies. He's not a decent man. Xiangyi said. Brother, you're biased against Shui. Xiangqi glared at her. Aren't you the one who thinks he's born with a seductive face? I think he's the reincarnation of a male vixen. In short, in the eyes of Xiangqi, the current Shui could be equated with a dog man. He's not a vixen. Xiangyi defended Shui in a low voice. After Xiangyi was done, she was stunned by Shui's beauty at first sight. The shooting was in progress. The long table covered with a white tablecloth was filled with sumptuous food. The candles on the gorgeous candlesticks were burning, and the dim lighting cast a heavy and depressing atmosphere. However, it couldn't hide the man's presence at the end of the long table. Shui was dressed in a retro black suit, and his tie was meticulously tied. The man's skin was cold and pale, and his eyebrows and eyes were even more profound after the light makeup. There was a small red rose drawn under the end of his right eye, adding a touch of seductive charm. His performance in the camera was superb. It was like a vivid movie that pulled people into the story. From being a serious gentleman, to the casual devilishness he exuded when he loosened his tie with one hand, to taking out a rose from the vase and casually biting off the petals one by one. His pale thin lips were stained with pink juice. A strong impact hit them in the face. The photographer's hand didn't stop pressing the shutter, and he kept taking pictures. Amazing! It was incredible. This was the most outstanding Asian man he had photographed in all these years. However, when Shui inadvertently saw Xiangyi in the corner, his expression suddenly changed. The frivolous and lazy vampire seemed to have fallen into the mortal world at this moment. His gaze was as gentle as the wind rustling the cherry trees in March. He seemed to have realized that he had lost his composure. He lowered his head slightly and looked down, but the corners of his lips unconsciously curled up. Xiangyi. Third brother seemed to be right. Shui was quite a vixen. Chapter 274. The cameraman managed to capture the scene in time. The creative director's mind was full of inspiration, and he began discussing with the cameraman in a bid to enrich the shooting plan this time. Filming was paused. Shui got up and strode towards Xiangyi. Screams were heard everywhere she went. Regardless of whether it was a man or a woman, Xiangyi's face was calm, at least on the surface. The young girl praised sincerely. You're very handsome today. Pushed. Thank you, Sister E. There were two voices, one from the jealous Xiangqi and the other from the smiling Shui. Xiangqi removed his sunglasses and wanted to dish Shui. However, even with his experience as a top designer, he found that Shui's outfit was impeccable. He gritted his teeth and said, "She's all right. She looks decent." Shui would automatically turn on her hearing whenever Xiangyi was around. She completely ignored Xiangqi's words and fixed her gaze on Xiangyi. She chuckled seductively and said, "Sister E, it must have been hard on you for descending to the mortal world today." In order to accentuate the contrast, Xiangyi's dress was not only gorgeous, but it was also a bright creamy yellow color with white lace elements. Every lace was sewn on by Xiangqi himself, making it look even more beautiful than the princess dresses in cartoons. The retro square-neck dress accentuated her slender waist and exquisite collarbone. Her makeup was clean and clear, and the color of her lip gloss complemented the rose at the end of Shui's eyes. She was full of vitality and elegance. Xiangqi humphed and exclaimed, "You don't have to praise my sister too." Xiangyi responded with a smile, as if there was nothing unusual about her. However, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Shui looks even more vixen when she smiles. Shui's solo shoot was completed with amazing efficiency. The final product was perfect, and the creative director and the others were full of praises for it. After his segment ended, it was Xiangyi's turn. According to the shooting plan, Xiangyi was going to shoot an outdoor scene in the rose garden of the castle. However, the photographer changed his mind at the last minute. "Let's go to the forest behind the castle. I heard that deer often appear there. The effect will be great if we can capture it on camera." Xiangyi cooperated with him in a good mood. However, when they arrived at the forest, The photographer's attitude was perfunctory. After taking a few photos, he began to question Xiangyi. Your movements are too stiff. Do you even know how to pose? Oh, that's not the effect I wanted at all. Xiangyi frowned and asked to take a look at the photos, but she was flatly rejected. You are not qualified. After struggling for more than half an hour, the staff were all exhausted. It was inevitable that they would look at Xiangyi with dissatisfaction. Although they felt that there was nothing wrong with Xiangyi's gaze and pose, Steve was a professional photographer. Hence, there must be something wrong with Xiangyi. Steve continuously complained, but when he saw Xiangqi coming over, he immediately shut up. He pretended to take a few photos and said, "Okay, let's take a break." The staff members felt as if they had been granted amnesty. Xiangqi handed his sister a glass of water and even carefully inserted a straw into it. Why did you take so long? Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. Maybe I'm holding them back. I heard that the final product is not very good. Xiangqi frowned. Don't think too much. Maybe the photographer's skills are not good enough. Steve, who was at the side, looked at the photos just now guiltily. If he hadn't received money from Hades's competitor, he wouldn't have deliberately taken such a poor shot. It's a pity that this little Asian beauty has such a great sense of camera. Chapter 275. However, he had already thought of a way to shift the blame, so Steve didn't panic at all. The shoot continued. This time with Xiangqi watching from the side, Steve didn't dare to complain, but he chose another method: silence. With a sullen face, he didn't give Xiangyi any hints apart from opening the door. The atmosphere became more and more suffocating and unbearable. During the second break, the crew was really exhausted. If they were tired, it would be fine if they could get some results. However, they were so tired that they couldn't even look at the photos. This kind of tiredness was meaningless. Some people couldn't help but complain on social media. Coincidentally, international surfers saw this post and reposted it back to China. Sheng sheng bu luo guo bu luo bu luo bu luo bu luo bu luo. I found a smurf account of a fashion magazine staff member of MYSL. Her performance is terrible. After working for half a day, there isn't a single photo that can be seen. The photographer wanted to shoot deer, but when she went into the forest, not a single deer showed up. I think she's a cursed girl. And let's be honest. Not only is Xiangyi unlucky, she's also a fashion black hole, right? As soon as this Weibo post was posted, someone immediately retorted, Sister E is a fashion black hole? Come on. Her red carpet appearance at Tomato Entertainment's annual gala was perfect. People call her a vase fairy every day, which actually means that her looks are really good. There were also people who gloated. Looks don't equal temperament. Some people are just nouveau riche no matter how much they promote themselves. For an international fashion magazine like MYSL, what they want is a sense of high-end fashion expression. Okay? Not everyone has that. With the attention of passersby, this Weibo post slowly became popular. When the Shui sisters saw it, they couldn't help but criticize it again. It wasn't easy to find something to criticize, so of course they couldn't miss it. At the castle, Viscount Albert invited a guest to dinner. It was the editor-in-chief of OU, Miss Sophia. He had been pursuing Sophia recently. After the two exchanged pleasantries, he tried to invite Sophia to go hunting together. Although we haven't seen deer in recent years, we can still hunt pheasants or rabbits. If you're interested, we can go on horseback. Sophia smiled and turned him down. She took off her plain, wide-brimmed hat and asked the creative director about the progress of the shoot. This is Sway's solo photo. The creative director showed the photo to Sophia on the computer. The photo had not been edited, but it was stunning enough. Sophia nodded her head in satisfaction. She had a feeling that this issue of the magazine would sell well. Where's Alice's picture? She and Hades were good friends. This time, the double magazine cover was also a favor to Hades. She knew that Xiangqi and Xiangyi were siblings. The photos haven't been sent over yet. Actually, some of the photos had been uploaded, but none of them were presentable. The creative director was disappointed, but he also wanted to secretly buy some time for Xiangyi. Perhaps Xiangyi would be able to get into the groove. He was worried that Sophia would replace Xiangyi after seeing those trashy films. As the big boss, Sophia was gentle in her daily life, but she was resolute in her work. She was the famous Iron Blood Empress. At this moment the photographer Steve returned. At the thought of the huge sum of money that he was about to receive, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. However, when he saw Sophia, his expression instantly froze. Big boss, why is she here? Chapter 276. The creative director's heart skipped a beat. I wonder how Xiangyi's shoot went. It's all my fault. I've been working on perfecting the two-person shooting plan and neglected Xiangyi. Sophia said calmly. Let me take a look at Alice's photos. The photographer hesitated for a few seconds before taking out the DSLR's memory card. His hands were trembling slightly. He imported the photos and previewed them. A set of trashy photos appeared in front of everyone. The creative director secretly cursed. It's over. Sophia is probably going to fly into a rage. He did not expect Sophia to just quietly look at a few hundred photos. The photographer felt lucky and thought that maybe Sophia didn't see through his tricks. If he could take good photos of the models, he could also take bad ones. It wasn't the first time he had used this trick, so he was very skilled. Not only did it show his superb photography skills for lighting, portraits, and sceneries, but it also made the people look lifeless and stiff. He also tried to capture Xiangyi's inappropriate expressions or movements, but the girl's facial expression was very well managed. Her gestures were elegant and proud, completely in line with the image of the little princess. He didn't manage to take any ugly photos. The staff came over to take a look. When they saw the superb but ugly photos, they immediately felt resentful towards Xiangyi. Without comparison, there would be no harm. If Shui's photos were stunning, then hers was simply shocking. The person who had just posted the photo secretly took a photo and posted it online. She thought that since no one paid attention to her account, she might as well post it. However, what she didn't know was that she was being watched by Chinese netizens. As soon as the photo was posted, it was immediately shared on Weibo and forums. This time there were photos as proof and ridicule immediately arose. Isn't this the standard of the wedding photos downstairs? What a waste of such a beautiful dress and such an awesome photographer. Why call her vase fairy? Just call her a country bumpkin. Calling her a country bumpkin is an insult to the word country bumpkin. This is probably what happens when there are no artisans. I think the vase fairy will be banned from the fashion industry after this issue of the magazine. Sophia clicked the mouse lightly, and the photo returned to the first one. This meant that she had seen everything once. The photographer saw that there was no change in her expression and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the big boss did not suspect him. The creative director, on the other hand, looked like he was about to cry. He felt that Sophia was going to replace Xiangyi the moment she opened her mouth. Under everyone's eager gazes, Sophia spoke at a moderate pace. Did you take all these photos? Yes, Mom. Sophia nodded slightly. Very good, Mr. Steve, right? I hereby announce that you are fired from our magazine. Yes, Mom. He was stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. Refired? Why? This isn't fair. I demand that you give me a reasonable explanation. Steve panicked. This job had a stable income and a good reputation in the industry. If he was fired, how could he survive in the industry in the future? Sophia opened the dual window mode and compared the photos of Shui and Xiangyi together. She then said professionally and calmly, "You have superb photography skills, but you're not a good photographer." Chapter 277. Being a photographer is a profession that naturally pursues beauty. This is also the founding philosophy of our magazine, to discover the beauty of different styles. You have the eyes to discover beauty, and you also have the skills to record beauty. This can be seen from Shui's photos. But, Sophia changed the topic and her light blue eyes moved to Steve. The latter subconsciously avoided her gaze, not daring to look into her eyes. However, Alice's photo disappointed me. Please note that it is the photos that disappointed me. You showed extraordinary skills, but you lost the pursuit of beauty and the purity of your soul. Mr. Steve, I think you should understand what I mean. Let's save some face for each other in social etiquette, okay? Her words hit the nail on the head, but they were tactful and appropriate. She pointed out the reason for firing Steve, but she did not expose his filth in public. Her iron-blooded professionalism and the gentleness unique to women formed a unique style. Steve's lips moved, trying to say something to save himself, but he could not say a word. His face was pale, and he lowered his head dejectedly. I understand, Madame Sophia. This turn of events was not expected by the staff at the scene. While they were still dumbfounded, Sophia had already started to arrange the work in an orderly manner. Linda, contact the photographer Ryan. Please arrange for Sway and Alice to rest for a while. Prepare for the meeting. I want to see the complete shooting plan. Under her orders, the originally chaotic scene was restored to order. Like a precise and efficient machine, it resumed its operation. Viscount Albert looked at this scene with infatuation. Oh God, this woman is too charming. Xiangyi had nothing to do, so she got Viscount Albert's permission and went to the kitchen to make some snacks. The light yellow round pancake emitted a faint fragrance. Xiangqi thought that it was his sister's biscuit, so he opened his mouth to eat it. However, he was stopped. This is deer biscuit made with rice bran and wheat flour. People might have diarrhea if they eat it. Xiangqi's focus was obviously different from ordinary people. He blurted out, "Is it delicious?" Xiangyi slowly typed a question mark. "Just don't eat it," she said. However, Xiangqi didn't believe her. While she wasn't paying attention, he secretly bit off half a piece and chewed like a little hamster. Although the taste was a little bland, it was made by his younger sister. For a crazy siscon, this was the best food in the world. Ryan, the cameraman who saved the scene, arrived as soon as possible. Because of the change of cameraman, Sure Sway's part also needed to be res-hot. But considering the problem of lighting, Xiangyi was the first to be shot this time. Viscount Albert noticed Xiangyi's deer biscuit and sighed. You want to use this to lure the deer over? That's impossible. There hasn't been a deer around the castle for many years. The deer in the nearby forest was a rare and protected species. They had white spots on their bodies, and the horns of the male deer were especially beautiful. However, they were especially ferocious, and there were records of them attacking humans in the early years. Unfortunately, they were becoming rarer and rarer in recent years. Some experts speculated that the herd might be endangered or even extinct. Before he could finish his words, a pair of furry pointy ears popped out from the dense forest. Albert. Everyone held their breaths at the same time and stared in shock at the young deer that suddenly appeared. Chapter 278. The fawn's fur was very light, and it was dotted with white spots. Its limbs were slender and elegant. Perhaps it was because it was a female deer or because it was too small. It did not have antlers on its head. It only had two furry pointed ears, like an elf loved by the goddess of nature in the forest. At that moment, its round deer eyes were fixed on the deer biscuit in Xiangyi's hand. An unbelievable guess surfaced in everyone's minds. Could it be that this fawn had appeared just for a bite of food? Xiangyi blinked, lifted her skirt and walked toward the fawn. Viscount Albert reminded her softly, "Be careful. This breed of deer is very ferocious." The next second, the fawn ran to Xiangyi and bit the deer biscuit in her hand. In the silent surroundings, the sound of the fawn chewing was particularly clear. As the fawn ate, it took the initiative to rub against Xiangyi's palm. Xiangyi was slightly stunned. Then she laughed and gently rubbed its little head. The fawn closed its eyes comfortably, as if it had reached the peak of its life. Everyone was speechless. What happened to being ferocious? It was clearly so docile that it had no boundaries. Viscount Albert's heart was about to break down. Back then he had been poked in the butt by a stag. Needless to say, he was a hooligan. Could it be that this little brat was more obedient? Ryan took a few photos, but the angle was not ideal. Just as he was about to continue, the fawn nimbly darted back into the forest. It ran very quickly. He could only give up and choose a scene with ancient trees and flowers to shoot. Without the photographer tampering with the photos, the shoot went exceptionally smoothly. The young lady had an excellent sense of camera angles, and she was very fashionable. Every photo was as beautiful as a pictorial. It was simply better than the rubbish photos taken by Steve. Perfect. Ryan was excited. Sophia was also very satisfied after looking at the finished photos. Everyone was about to call it a day and return to the castle when they suddenly heard rustling sounds. Looking in the direction of the sound, they saw at least a dozen deer gathered in the depths of the forest. Everyone was speechless. What? Not only did it freeload on its own, but it even brought its family along. The leading fawn was quite bold. It rushed to Xiangyi's side like a gust of wind and said in its childish voice, "Yo, everyone thought. Is she acting coquettishly? Did you bring your family here?" Xiangyi smiled. "Fortunately, I made a lot of deer biscuits." She took out the remaining deer biscuits and did not rush to feed them. Instead, she placed them some distance away from the herd of deer. Then, she returned to her original position and quietly fed the deer. Gradually, a deer took light steps forward and sniffed the deer biscuits. Instantly, the buck with beautiful and huge antlers was like a kitten that had seen catmint. It bit the deer cake and swallowed it. He swallowed it. The other deer also rushed over. Albert was in a daze. He suddenly realized that the reason why the deer attacked the humans so frequently was not because they wanted to eat them, right? He carefully recalled that when he was being chased, he seemed to have been eating strawberries. The photographer Ryan could not hide his excitement. He stood or squatted, and in order to get a special angle, he even lay on the ground and kept shooting with his SLR camera. It was too beautiful. It was as if the telephoto lens in a movie was zooming in slowly. The flowers and ancient trees outlined the colorful background like an oil painting. The deer and the young lady formed a harmonious natural rhythm. Even the light and shadow were warm and bright. The towering castle in the distance was reduced to a foil. All the beautiful scenery in the world could not compare to this moment. Chapter 279. All the beautiful moments were captured by the photographer's camera and turned into eternity. In the end, each photo was breathtakingly beautiful. The most innocent and naive little princess and the pure and flawless fawn. The artistic atmosphere was overwhelming. Everyone was full of praise for this set of photos. Next, Shui's shoot went very smoothly. He still maintained a high standard of performance and vividly portrayed the vampire in the dark. Then it was time for the highlight of the day, the two-person shoot. Sophia and the two of them talked about the shooting plan again. Unlike the abstract concepts in the past, this time they gave them a script-like existence. What we want to express is a sense of story through the depths of the photos. On the other hand, the Shui sisters had been mocking Xiangyi on Weibo for no other reason than the fact that there were only a few extreme fans of his girlfriend and wife. But Xiangyi's fans were increasing day by day. The Shui sisters had no choice but to switch the battlefield to the Muskmelon forum. All of a sudden, the Muskmelon forum was flooded with comments. "Let's have a look at the village belle's outfit. My eyes say that she's ugly. Even an internationally renowned photographer can't save her. Everyone dislikes her when they see her. Judging from her appearance, the vase fairy has an unlikable face." Just as they were getting excited, a new post suddenly popped up. "Damn! Sister E is simply a Disneyland princess who escaped." The Shui sisters were full of disdain and disdain. With that ugly photo, how could Xiangyi make a comeback? They clicked on it and saw that the blogger who had posted the photo had uploaded a social media post. It was still the same staff member who had exposed the photo, but this time, his words were full of praise for Xiangyi. "Oh, my cute and pitiful the little princess. It turns out that I've been misunderstanding her all this time. It's not that there's a problem with her performance, but rather, it's the photographer's problem. Moreover, she made a kind of food called lubbing, which actually attracted a herd of deer that hadn't appeared for many years. Oh my God, is this the mysterious magic of the East?" The Shui sisters were about to mock him, but their attention was drawn to the photos in the main building. The girl in the milky yellow princess dress had a faint smile on her face. Her eyes were as clear as water as she gently stroked the deer's head. Not far away, a herd of deer gathered. The photographer captured the scene very cleverly, as if the forest elves were listening to the witch's call and offering their blessings to the little princess in the castle. The scene was so lively that it was like a scene from a fairy tale movie. Shui sisters? Was this the vase fairy? He zoomed in and took a closer look. F***ck. It really is. The passers-by were also dumbfounded. Weren't they all mocking Xiangyi for having no temperament? You call this lack of temperament? Are all of you blind? Also, weren't they mocking Xiangyi for having bad luck and even hating deer? You call this annoying? There were more than a dozen deer in the photo, and all of them were looking at Xiangyi eagerly. Especially that little deer. It was almost like a husky rolling around her feet and asking for hugs. This was simply a deer pet's original pet. Ha ha ha. She has amazing magic. She's magical girl Xiang Yi. Amazing. This photo is really beautiful. It's like a different photographer. Awesome. What kind of Mary Sue persona is Xiang Yi using? She can attract so many deer just by making some random deer biscuits. She's stunning enough alone. What's more when the two of them take a photo together? I must buy this issue of the magazine. Chapter 280. The Sure Sui sisters, who had finally found something to criticize, were dumbfounded once again. There was even a post on the Melon forum about Sister Yi's face-slapping moments. The face-slapping is like a gust of wind. Sister Yi's face-slapping is like a tornado. The post was full of humor and the comments were hilarious. Even the Sure Sui sisters were ridiculed. There were also video bloggers who created short videos of themselves. The Sure Sui sisters mocked Xiang Yi for not being able to buy a plane ticket. A photo of Xiang Yi holding a shovel and cooking a large pot of vegetables appeared on the screen, accompanied by a magical sound effect of slapping someone. Do I need a reason to slap you? The Sure Sui sisters mocked Xiang Yi for not being able to book a hotel. Slap. Slap. Do I need a reason to slap you? The Sure Sui sisters mocked Xiang Yi for not having a good temperament. Slap. 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 Do I need a reason to slap you? The short video was simple to make, but it was especially brainwashing. Soon, it went viral and attracted hundreds of thousands of likes. The Sure Sui sisters who were causing trouble were completely embarrassed. Sure Sui's official fan club also issued a statement and called on everyone to follow their idols rationally and civilly. In the castle, the two-person shoot officially began. The lights were dim, the candlesticks were burning, and the red wine glasses reflected a sultry light. Ryan tried to take a few shots and looked down to check the photos. Both of them had a good sense of camera angles and were stylish. However, there was no intimacy. Ryan said tactfully, "Can the two of you interact with each other a little? It doesn't matter if it's physical contact or eye contact." Hence, the two of them slowly moved a few centimeters closer to each other. Ryan was speechless. It's like a sudden and ambiguous atmosphere in a romance movie. It's like a heart-pounding first love. Ryan tried his best to express the feeling he wanted. Xiang Yi was speechless. Sorry, this is beyond my scope. In the fast-paced world she transmigrated to, she played the role of an assistant between the male and female leads. However, she had never been in a relationship before. She racked her brains and wondered if she should hold on to Sure Sui's arm. All of a sudden, a pair of warm hands appeared at the back of her neck and pressed the back of her head down. Huh? The girl's pupils dilated slightly, and she was forced to close the distance between them. The tip of her nose was almost touching his. Bang, bang, bang. Caught off guard, their eyes met, and their heartbeats suddenly accelerated. The sound of Ryan pressing the shutter rang out. Very good. Perfect. In the viewfinder, the vampire was teasing the clean and gentle little princess in his arms like he was teasing his prey. The girl's panic and the man's carelessness caused a chemical reaction to appear all of a sudden. It was the kind of sweetness that made people blush and their hearts race. Next, it's the feeling of being in love. Clayton continued. Bewitching, falling, indulging, passionate, colliding. For Sure Sui, it was a piece of cake for her to play an affectionate role. His peach blossom-shaped eyes seemed to be naturally affectionate, especially when he smiled. It was as if there was a deep and dark pool in his eyes. He smirked and was thinking about how to bring Xiang Yi into the role when she suddenly grabbed his tie and tugged it down forcefully. The man leaned forward cooperatively and glanced at the girl in front of him with a smirk, as if her trick had no effect on him. In the next second, the girl gently touched his protruding Adam's apple with her other hand, and then moved her fingers all the way down, wherever her fingertips touched. It was as if little flowers of electricity had bloomed. The gaze in Sure Sui's eyes changed instantly. Chapter 281. His Adam's apple instinctively moved twice in a sensual manner. However, the initiator of it all still remained calm and raised her eyebrows at him. She seemed to be provoking and seducing him. Sure Sui's dark eyes were covered with a layer of gloomy and obscure light. He licked the corners of his lips and the smile in his eyes spread wide, making him look extremely bewitching and devilish. Xiang Yu was speechless. She was just imitating a girl who was particularly good at seduction in the transmigration world. I seem to have gone a little overboard. Shui, don't smile like that, I really can't take it. Ryan exclaimed in awe. The sound of the shutter clicking filled the air and only stopped after a long time. The photos were synchronized to the computer at the side, and Sophia immediately took a liking to a certain photo. She held her breath. Although she had seen a lot, she was still amazed by the beautiful scenery today. If nothing went wrong, that photo would be the cover of this issue. The shoot was paused and the makeup artist stepped forward to touch up Xiangyi's makeup. Xiangqi also came over to help her tidy up her skirt. Looking at his sister, he asked, "When did you learn to do all that nonsense?" Xiangyi feigned ignorance and asked, "Huh? Shall we have seafood and tomato pasta tonight?" Xiangqi subconsciously wanted to agree, but he changed his mind in time. Gritting his teeth, he exclaimed, "I'll settle the score with you after the shoot." On the other hand, Shui was drinking water calmly, as if everything that happened just now did not affect him at all. However, his habitual action of reaching for his cigarette box betrayed his thoughts. Shui had never felt so terrible about quitting smoking. He felt like he desperately needed something to calm himself down. Otherwise, he would keep replaying the scene of her cold and soft fingertips touching his Adam's apple. It was very annoying. The shoot began again, but to Xiangyi's surprise, the scene changed to a bedroom. It was still the bed in the bedroom. She repeatedly confirmed it twice before accepting the reality. She did not show it on her face, but she was still a little flustered. Shui seemed to have noticed her nervousness. He chuckled and asked, "Are you going first or should I go first? Or should we sleep together?" Sleep together, Xiangyi tensed up and pushed Shui. "You go first." In the end, she did not know if it was because she did not control her strength well or because Shui did not control his center of gravity well, but he fell onto the bed and stared at her innocently. The crew members on set were looking at Xiangyi's gazes too. This little Eastern beauty can't wait for the big Eastern beauty. Xiangyi. She was Adams. This. SSSSSSSS. SSSSSSSSS. SSSS. SSSSSSSS. SSSSS. Shui did not say anything. He just stared at Xiangyi and smiled. Xiangyi whispered, "Have you been on the cover of a magazine before?" Shui. "Yes." Xiangyi. "No wonder you're so good at acting." The man raised his eyebrows. At such a close distance, there was an uncontrollable ambiguity fermenting in the air, diffusing and dispersing in the air. He seemed to be gently wrapping his arms around the girl's waist, but in fact, he was full of strong possessiveness. He whispered in her ear, "I've never interacted with anyone before. Our sister E is the first." Chapter 282. Shui seemed to have said something, but Xiangyi's mind was blank and she didn't hear it clearly. She only remembered that his breath was hot. Unbeknownst to her, this scene was extremely beautiful in the viewfinder of Ryan's camera. The little princess who was in love was confused and helpless. Her eyes were blank. The vampire, who had finally succeeded, had a strong sense of aggression and danger in his eyes. She was in a mess but obsessed. She was drowning but unwilling to struggle. Redemption? Sorry, there's no need. Please follow me and fall into darkness together. The last set of scenes was full of symbolic meaning. The little princess was standing by the window. Behind her was the vampire who was holding her waist and restraining her. The man's lips were only half an inch away from her fair neck, but he hesitated and didn't bite down. The next second, the little princess raised her hand and closed the window. The last trace of light in the castle disappeared. Everything was shrouded in darkness, as if time had been sealed and the past had been locked. However, in the retro-carved mirror, there was a reflection of their interlocked hands. "Okay, that's it." Ryan announced the end of the shoot. Only then did the crew wake up from their daze. It turned out that they had unknowingly been substituted into the story. This story wasn't exactly a fairy tale love story. On the contrary, it was a little dark, but it was more shocking and memorable. Ryan and the others went to watch the film. Xiangyi stood rooted to the ground and didn't come back to her senses. It wasn't until Shui flicked her forehead that Xiangyi looked up slowly. Shui said calmly, "It's just a story." Xiangyi. Yeah. She was just in a trance for a moment. Were the lives she saw when she was traveling through worlds real or illusory? Were they just insignificant stories? Xiangyi. Shui suddenly called her full name. He didn't use his usual teasing tone. Instead, he said in a gentle and serious tone, "You are you, not someone else. Nothing can erase your existence." Existence. The girl subconsciously placed her palm on his chest. A deep and powerful heartbeat. She breathed a sigh of relief and finally pulled away from those chaotic thoughts. The next second, Shui clicked her tongue and said in a drawling tone, "Are you taking advantage of your brother so blatantly now?" Xiangyi. "No, I didn't." Shui, don't spout nonsense. She quickly retracted her hand, her expression especially indifferent and calm. "My hand is dirty, let me wipe it." Shui raised his eyebrows. "Then where are you going to wipe your dirty hands next time?" He said lazily, as if he was coaxing a child. "Can you give me a notice in advance? After all, I'm already so old and I can't stand your torment." Xiangyi. Okay." The girl lifted her skirt and fled in a sorry state. Due to Viscount Albert's warm invitation, Xiangyi and the others stayed at the castle for the night. When it was almost time for dinner, Albert arrived at the dining room as if nothing had happened. He thought that he was the first to arrive, but to his surprise Shui, Xiangqi, Sophia, and the others were all there. Albert was speechless. "Sorry I lost." Everyone discussed various topics such as finance, art, red wine and so on. By the time the maid served the dishes that Xiangyi had cooked, all the topics came to an abrupt end. Albert immediately laid out a white tablecloth for Miss Sophia and himself, and prepared for the meal. He turned around only to discover that Xiangqi was calmly taking out of his large bag. He took out an oversized bowl. Albert was dumbfounded. "Damn it, that works too." Chapter 283. Sensing everyone's surprised gazes, Xiangqi said seriously, "When it comes to hygiene, start with preparing your own utensils." Everyone. "As if I'll believe you." But soon, everyone's attention was attracted by the food on the table. There was a chef in the castle, and Xiangyi thought that not everyone would like her cooking, so she made two simple dishes, a beef patty and a fried mushroom. The beef patty was made from beef tenderloin, which was marinated slightly before frying in a pan. The heat was controlled just right, and it could be dipped in black pepper sauce or tomato sauce according to one's taste. The fried mushroom was made from fresh mushrooms picked in the afternoon, mixed with flour, egg and other ingredients and fried. It was then rolled in a circle of chili powder, cumin, and other condiments that the girl had brought from China. The aroma was overflowing, and it went straight into everyone's nostrils. Albert felt that he was a devout believer. In the past, when he ate with others, he would lead them in praying. But today, he recited the prayers very quickly, and then announced that it was time to eat. The beef patty was exquisitely made, and Albert bit off half of it in one bite. The juices of the meat filling splattered, and it bloomed beautifully on his taste buds. Albert's gaze drifted. Was this heaven? How could there be such delicious food? Miss Sophia was interested in the fried mushroom. She carefully forked a small piece with her fork and took a bite. The fried mushroom had a crispy outer layer, but the mushroom inside was fresh and tender. The combination of the three flavors of egg, flour and mushroom formed a rich and complex texture. She felt that she could use an article to describe this wonderful feeling. As for Xiangqi, he liked to eat noodles, so Xiangyi scooped a bowl of seafood and tomato pasta for him. Then she added a circle of fried mushrooms and a circle of sliced beef patties, forming a unique big bowl of seafood pasta with rice. As he ate, he glanced provocatively at Shui. My sister only scooped rice for me." Shui's expression didn't change. There was nothing wrong with his dining etiquette, and he was elegant and noble. When he was almost done eating, he wiped the corners of his mouth with a snow-white napkin and suddenly said, "Sister E, have you thought about what to make for Big Brother's in-flight meal?" Upon hearing the word Big Brother, Xiangqi instinctively sat up straight, even forgetting to chew the pasta at the corner of his mouth. Xiangyi nodded. "Yes, I'll make Big Brother's favorite dishes." She tilted her head and looked at Xiangqi. "Big Brother, do you want to accompany me? Let's go home and see Grandpa." Regardless of whether it was to accompany his sister or visit his grandfather, he was very happy with these two options. However, with the addition of the option of going with his elder brother, this question instantly became a question of death. Sister, you're not a kid anymore. You're a big friend now. Xiangqi acted like a big brother and said in a dignified manner, Can you be a little more mature? Do you need me to accompany you on the plane? Oh, Shui smiled. It's okay. I'll accompany you, Xiangqi. Mother asterisk her. However, he couldn't do anything to Shui. He was afraid of his big brother, but Shui wasn't afraid at all. Dagua? Albert's Chinese wasn't very good, and he tried to join Xiangyi and the other two's group chat. He was very confused. It's fine to bring a big bowl, but do you have to bring a big pot? Xiangqi took advantage of his big brother's absence to reveal his dark history. When my family went camping, my big brother brought a big pot. But, he paused and said in a sorrowful tone, I had to carry it for him the whole time. Something came up today and it was too late to go home. Smiley face. Angle. Let me tell you in advance. Chapter 284. At the same time, Logic Sports Base. The training room was brightly lit, and the sound of the keyboard and mouse could be heard. Xiao Naofu was nestled in the pocket of Xiang Yu's uniform, watching him play games. After watching the game for a few days, Xiao Naofu had already grasped the rules and was more addicted to it than Xiang Yu himself. Meow meow meow. Go go go, beat him up. Beat him up for this hoo-hoo. In Xiang Yu's ears, Xiao Naofu's cries were simply the most beautiful sound in the world. The sniper in the game ended the battle with a clean shot and found a cover to hide behind. He freed his hand to cover Xiao Naofu's eyes and coaxed softly. Be good. A cute kitten like Xiao Naofu can't watch these fights. Xiao Naofu. No. Let this hoo-hoo watch. This hoo wants esports too. Creak. The door was pushed open. It was Captain Wander, who had just returned from drawing the lot. He sighed and said apologetically, I'm sorry, my luck isn't good. We'll be facing Team I in the next match. This year's Lonely Glory World Connections main venue was in Nanchang. Team Logic was one of the two Chinese teams in the top 36, and had high hopes for them in the domestic esports circle. However, Team IC was a seeded team and had made it to the top 3 in the World League last year. Team Logic had to face such a strong team in the first round and suffered a crushing defeat. The atmosphere in the team was inevitably a little heavy. At this moment, Awoo! Awoo! Xiao Naofu pushed Xiang Yu's hand away and jumped onto the keyboard aggressively. Its soft, meaty paws smashed onto the attack button. With a bang, the sniper in the game fired and hit the enemy who was about to launch a sneak attack. Everyone in the team, Hoo-hoo wanted to fight again, but he was picked up by Wander. The young man's eyes were filled with tears. This is a miracle. It must be a miracle. God is encouraging us. Everyone cheer up, let's go. For a moment, the little cubs seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. Go go go. Only Xiao Naofu was struggling desperately. Let go of me. This hoo-hoo can still fight. On the other side, Research Institute, Director's Office. Why can a cripple like Xiang Li apply for so much funding? Could his hands be used for experiments? He's clearly a dog in the manger. A middle-aged man complained in dissatisfaction. The director tried to appease the middle-aged man, but the middle-aged man continued to push his luck. How about this? We'll keep Xiang Li's original team, and I'll join them to guide them. As for Xiang Li, we'll kick him out. He's no longer of any value to our research institute. The director slowly typed out a question mark. Even though Xiang Li was injured, he still managed to come up with a lot of new drugs and published a few core research papers. This was enough to prove Xiang Li's research ability. On the other hand, if you're capable or not, you only know how to bootlick. Where did you get the face to say that you want to kick Xiang Li out? The director pulled a long face. First of all, Professor Xiang Li's hand will recover soon. Secondly, Professor Xiang Li has discovered an extract from seaweed. His research has made great progress. No matter who they replace, they will never replace Professor Xiang Li. At the same time, in the middle of the bustling city, rows upon rows of buildings were brightly lit. In front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Sangchen, wearing a black nightgown, coldly rejected his business partner on the phone. New case? Not interested. I have more important things to do. The corners of his thin lips seemed to curl slightly. My little bunny is coming to coax me. Chapter 285. After hanging up the phone, Sangchen opened his WeChat. Little Bunny's account was pinned to the top. He tapped on the chat box with his slender fingers and saw that there were 0 unread messages. However, there was a new status update on his WeChat moments. It was a selfie of Xiangyi and Xiangqi, in which Sher Sui's side profile was accidentally captured. The caption of the picture was, "Xiangyi is super handsome today too. Oh, asterisk, asterisk." Oh, the two of them shared a lot of friends and there were already many comments below. Annoying number 4. I'm obviously the most handsome. Annoying number 3 replied to annoying number 4. Go away, go away. Your third brother is the most handsome, got it? Annoying number 2. Tutu, can you send me a photo of Xiangqi? Sure Sui. What about me? Sangchen. Huh. What a bunch of annoying people. It was late at night, but he wasn't sleepy at all. Instead, he tapped on Weibo to kill some time. His account was verified as lawyer of Linshan Law Offices, so he would usually receive a lot of mentions, all of which were for legal advice. Occasionally, Sangchen would reply to a few of them. Today, as usual, he scrolled through the list and scrolled past a comment that read, "May I ask if you've accepted a case for public welfare legal aid?" QQ. He stopped scrolling. It wasn't because of the content but because of the user's nickname. Guardian of the bestie in the world. The avatar used was a screenshot of Xiangyi and 2 under one roof, with her hair tied up in a bun. The little girl was smiling with her head tilted to the side. After adding some filters and various special effects, she looked even more gentle and adorable. Sangchen saved it with a straight face, then subconsciously opened the avatar's Weibo account. Obviously, Guardian was a fan of Xiangyi, and almost every post was related to Xiangyi. However, Sangchen couldn't understand her messy seniority logic. Ah, Xiangyi is so beautiful, Mama loves you. Sister E is so soft, I really want to rub her. She even has dimples, she's so sweet. Damn it, E is so awesome today. Away is dead. I want to be a fan for 1 second. However, that did not stop Sangchen from saving photos and videos. After he was satisfied with saving dozens of photos, he noticed that Guardian had updated his Weibo. Guarding the best in the world, if you don't vote, I won't vote. When will E be able to make a name for herself? Don't forget to help Xiangyi get on the rankings. Also, our fan club group number is XXXX. Welcome everyone to join. Sangchen checked the links that she had sent him. They were all different kinds of rankings. Xiangyi's popularity was at the bottom. Sangchen furrowed his brows and sent a private message to the other party. Tutu Dajv, I can take the case. Big brother Tutu V, but I have 2 requests. The other party replied instantly. Ah, really? Please speak. The Guardian in front of the screen was extremely excited. Although this lawyer's ID was a little strange, he was still a lawyer from Linshan Law Firm. She had asked for help from many lawyers, but all of them were ignored. To her surprise, the only one who replied was one of the top lawyers in the industry. A new message popped up in the chat and the Guardian checked it nervously, for fear that the other party would make a difficult request. That would be terrible. Tutu Dajv, teach me how to get on the rankings. The Guardian : Buzz. Tutu Dajv, also add me to Little Bunnies. Yes, Xiangyi's fan club. Thank you. The Guardian : She was in a trance. She didn't expect the other party to make such a request. Is this the legendary male fan? Or is he a male fan? Asterisk asterisk today is salted fish warm guilty. Don't be mean to me. I'll catch up on it during the day. Good night, QQ. Chapter 286. Probably because she didn't reply, the other party sent another message. Tutu Big Brother V. What's the matter? Is there a problem? Guardian hurriedly replied. No. It's totally okay. Then this brother fan very professionally asked her to send him the details of the case. In order to make it easier to contact him, he even gave her a WeChat signal. Guardian added him as a friend nervously and quickly accepted it. She checked this brother fan's WeChat moments and realized that he didn't set it to be open within 3 days. However, there were only a few posts in total. They were from 2 days ago, a year ago, and a year and a half ago. 2 days ago. I'm on annual leave. Please contact my assistant Gu Jingxi for work matters. A year ago. Little Bunny ran away from home. A year and a half ago. Camping with my sister and cooking noodles in a big pot. Tastes pretty good. It seems that he also has a sister named Little Bunny. What a coincidence, it's actually the same as Xiangyi's nickname. In order to show her sincerity, Guardian meticulously created a tutorial for voting on the rankings and sent it to him. She also added him to Xiangyi's fan club. Thank you. Guardian replied with an emoji and ran to watch the cut version of Two Under One Roof that only had clips of Xiangyi. From time to time, she would let out a goose-like laughter. After more than half an hour, new messages suddenly popped up on WeChat. Damn, Sister E has a rich fan now. She's rushed to the top of the female celebrity popularity list. She's also the first on the most popular list. I'm impressed. What kind of big shot is this? Tutu Big Brother? This name sounds a bit familiar, hahaha. Is he Xiangyi's brother fan? Guardian froze for a moment and went to check the various major rankings, only to find that this brother fan was a typical person of few words and was good at gambling. He was also very generous with his money. She was extremely excited and posted in the group. Great, our Xiangyi is also someone with a big fan club. There were sounds of agreement below. Suddenly, Tutu Big Brother. Someone bullied her? The group was silent for a few seconds. In an instant, everyone was worshipping the big boss with slipping hair and kneeling emojis. After a while, someone finally sent a voice message to Tutu's older brother to explain. That's right. That all is well year-round character and Shui sister is always leading our sister E around. Even after being slapped in the face a few times, she still doesn't know how to restrain herself. Just now, she even posted on Weibo that Sister E was going to drive her to her death. I'm speechless. As she spoke, she even sent out a link. It was a Weibo post from All Is Well Year Round. The gist of the post was that she couldn't bear the evil in this world, and that her only ray of light had been snatched away by others. She wanted to leave. Many fans comforted her in the comments section, and there were also people who passionately insulted Xiangyi, accusing her of driving a depressed patient to death. There were already more than 10,000 likes. Sangchen, who was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, combed his messy hair. He never liked listening to long speeches, but he patiently finished listening to the lecture. TSK. How dare they bully his little bunny? Tutu Big Brother. Got it. Tutu Big Brother. The internet is not a lawless place. I will send a lawyer's letter to all the Weibo users who insulted Xiangyi. The group members thought that he was joking, but they didn't expect that about 10 minutes later, Linshan Law Firm's official Weibo account actually posted a statement. Frowny face Linshan Law Firm v. The internet is not a lawless place. The attached picture was a lawyer's letter with at least a few hundred Weibo users' names on it. In an instant, the foul-mouthed Shui sisters panicked. Chapter 287. Weren't they just angry and scolded Xiangyi a little? Xiangyi was a public figure, so what was wrong with being criticized? She wanted to be a celebrity, so why did they have to send them a lawyer's letter? Moreover, the lawyer was from Linshan Law Firm, one of the top law firms in the country. Many people felt suffocated, and they guiltily deleted their comments and changed their IDs, fearing that they would be punished by the law. Thus, Xiangyi's fans were surprised to find that the Shui sisters, who had been shouting the loudest and scolding the most, had all disappeared. Finally, someone could deal with them. Meanwhile, Sangchen's fan club was flooded with comments. Big Brother, you're awesome. Sangchen didn't say anything else. Instead, he looked at the bustling night scene outside the window. The huge billboard shone brightly on the man's chiseled face, softening his sharp features slightly. Seeing the little rabbit up close, there were only 8 hours left. The next morning, Xiangqi got up sleepily. His dark green silk robe was wrinkled from his sleep, and a few buttons on his collar were unbuttoned, revealing a large area of his pale skin. His well-defined abs were faintly discernible. He walked to the window to breathe in the fresh air, and vaguely saw two familiar figures. Xiangqi squinted and realized that he couldn't see them clearly because they were too far away. He hurriedly turned on the camera on his cell phone and zoomed in a few times. Damn! It was his younger sister feeding the deer outside the castle, and Shui was standing next to her lazily. Eat slowly, don't rush. Xiangyi's voice was gentle as she patiently fed the deer from yesterday. Behind the deer, there was a large group of parents and siblings who had come to freeload. Every deer was given a few pieces of deer biscuits, and they were happily munching on them. Xiangyi had already told the chef in the castle how to make the deer biscuits, and Viscount Albert generously expressed that he would be happy to feed these cute forest elves. I'm leaving today. You have to pay attention to your safety in the future. Don't get caught by poachers. As Xiangyi spoke, she suddenly turned her small face. Do they understand Chinese? Shi Sui quietly accompanied her by her side. Hearing her words, she couldn't help laughing. Can you translate it for me? The little girl thought it made sense and translated it to Xiaolu. Xiaolu tilted its head. Its ears were furry and its eyes were round. It had the clearest gaze in the world. It seemed to understand and rubbed its nose against Xiangyi's palm. Xiangyi's heart softened. She took out the last piece of deer cake from her pocket and fed it. The deer behind her instantly lined up to rub against her, begging to be touched. They didn't forget to touch the pocket on Xiangyi's clothes, trying to get her to take out another piece of deer cake. It could be said to be a real foodie deer. Xiangyi couldn't help but lick her lips. I heard that venison is very nourishing, Shi Sui added. Hunting is illegal in China, but sika deer can be artificially reared. Xiangyi's eyes lit up. Then shall we rear 2 of them? Shi Sui chuckled. We'll do as you say. The deer were speechless. In Xiangqi's eyes, the morning sun, the cute deer, the gentleness of a young girl, and the company of a man. All of this was obviously very heartwarming, but it was more impactful than any war or sci-fi scenes. Although he wanted to rush over and kick Shi Sui away from his younger sister. But why did this damn inspiration come again? It was actually the inspiration for matching outfits. Chapter 288. He scratched his head, struggling between kicking the dogman and recording his inspiration. In the end, Xiangqi gave in to recording his inspiration. Ever since his debut, he had only designed women's clothing. Men's clothing was his weakness. Now that he had a chance to make a breakthrough, he had to seize it. As for the dogman, haha, wouldn't it be better to wait for Big Brother to kick him in person? Shi Sui, your death is coming soon. Ha ha ha. At this thought, Xiangqi picked up a pen and paper. His inspiration rushed to the paper like magic. One set of couples' outfits after another were born from his slender fingers. After stroking all the deer with satisfaction, Xiangyi waved goodbye to them. The deer blinked and suddenly grabbed Xiangyi's clothes with its mouth. It stared at her with tears in its eyes. How could it not be sad that a fangirl was leaving? Xiangyi was a little sad because of it. She bit her lip and whispered, I'll come back to see you next time, okay? Ooh, I'll definitely come back. Woo woo. Next time, I'll make you something better than deer biscuits. Oh. The deer stared at her for a few seconds, then slowly let go of her. Xiangyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She suspected that the deer had become a spirit and had sufficient evidence. After watching the deer and the herd of deer enter the forest, Xiangyi and Shi Sui walked back to the castle. Ouch! Xiangyi was so focused on looking back at the deer that she slipped and twisted her ankle. Shi Sui caught her in time and asked with a frown, Are you okay? Should I carry you back? Imagining that scene, Xiangyi felt a little embarrassed. She said calmly, I'm fine, I can still walk. The next second, a black Rolls-Royce stopped beside her. The door opened automatically, revealing the cold and indifferent gaze of the man in the car. Xiangyi, Big Brother is here. Her cherry lips opened slightly. She wanted to greet him, but she didn't dare to call him Big Brother. Sanction calmly got out of the car. He was 188 centimeters tall, with broad shoulders and long legs. Dressed in a black suit, his facial features were deep and handsome. His entire body was covered with a layer of earth-shattering coldness, as if it could crush the sunlight behind him. He lowered his eyes and glanced at Xiangyi. Broken leg? Xiangyi shook her head in fear. No. Then do you need to hide in another man's arms? Xiangyi came to her senses and tried to pry Shi Sui's hand away. Unexpectedly, Shi Sui tightened his grip and hugged her shoulder even tighter. His peach blossom eyes curved slightly, and the corners of his mouth curled into a lazy smile. Big Brother, long time no see. Sanction looked at him in the eye. It was a silent confrontation between two men. A moment later, Sanction sneered. Get your dirty hands off me. Xiangyi subconsciously defended Shi Sui. He didn't touch the deer. His hands are not dirty. Whoosh! Big Brother's cold gaze swept over. The young girl shrank her neck and said pitifully, "Brother, my ankle hurts." Actually, it wasn't that painful. However, in front of Big Brother, this little bit of pain seemed to be a great grievance. Because she had been doted on before, she dared to be fearless and willful. "Now you know pain." For some reason, although Songchen's tone was still cold, it wasn't as fierce as before. He raised his long black eyebrows. "So," Xiangyi mustered up her courage. "So, brother, can you carry me back?" Sangchen looked at her and didn't say anything. "Boo-hoo, I can't, I'm going to cry." The young girl was terrified and changed her words. "Are you tired from the car ride?" I can carry you, it's not impossible." Chapter 289. Afraid that her brother would not believe her sincerity, Xiangyi clenched her fists and tried to flex her muscles. "Brother, I'm very strong. If you don't like to carry me, I can carry you." Sangchen shifted his gaze onto her fair arms and couldn't help but frown. In the past year, that person had been using a very unhealthy method to lose weight, going on a diet. Xiangyi had lost a lot of weight and her arms were sickly slender. They looked so fragile that they could be broken easily. "Forget it, what's the point of getting angry with her?" Sangchen said with a sullen expression. "Come here." Xiangyi did not move. It was not that she didn't want to go, but rather she was too scared. She felt safer staying by Shui's side. Watching as she shrank towards Shui, Songchen's temples began to throb. This little bunny needs to be taught a lesson. Is she really going to fall in love at such a young age? Does she have any respect for the family rules? However, Shui had guessed Xiangyi's true thoughts. He looked down and said in a lazy and innocent voice, "Brother, it's the same if I help her." With that, he helped Xiangyi walk in the direction of the castle. Sangchen shifted his gaze from his sister to Shui's legs. He seemed to be contemplating if he should break Shui's legs. He strode forward with his long legs and picked Xiangyi up in his arms. "Huh?" While she stared at him in shock, Sangchen said with a straight face, "Your legs are short and you're walking too slowly. You're wasting time." "Oh, is that so?" However, Xiangyi realized that her brother was carrying her. "Does that mean that he's actually not that angry with me?" She carefully tugged at the fabric of his suit jacket, feeling both nervous and happy. To her surprise, Sangchen said, "Tisk, you're quite heavy." Xiangyi was speechless. "Much heavier than rice." Xiangyi. "Oh? Then I'll walk by myself." "Actually, I can walk." Xiangyi was a little humble. Of course, it was mainly because she was afraid Chan Chun of the Xiang family, a man who dominated the fear of the entire Xiang family. Sangchen said coldly, "Shut up, Xiangyi." "Oh." Wu did not dare to speak anymore. Shui, who was standing behind her, smiled happily. Another man who can't stand being goaded. He was clearly worried about his sister's death, yet he still pretended to be unconcerned, clearly sullen on the inside. Castle living room. Sangchen placed Xiangyi on the sofa. He had been to the castle a few times and was very familiar with the layout. He got up and went to the kitchen to get some ice. Xiangqi took a stack of design drafts downstairs and showed them off to his sister. "Sister, look at my newly designed couple outfit." Xiangyi took a look and was stunned. Over the past year, there were people in the fashion industry who couldn't stand how Xiangqi's designs were always able to set off new trends. They dissed him for not being able to design men's and children's outfits, saying that his designs were too limited. In fact, many designers specialized in one category, but in their eyes wasn't Hades a genius. A genius had to be all-round, otherwise, he would be a good-for-nothing. She treated him with the strictest standards, yet held herself to the most relaxed standards. However, this couple outfit was so ingenious. It was simply amazing. "You're even designing couple outfits for her?" Xiangyi's cold and deep voice came from behind. Xiangqi shuddered and had a strong desire to live. "No, these are parent-child outfits." Parent-child outfits. Chapter 290. Sangchen. Heh. He half knelt beside Xiangyi's feet, lifted her trousers and put the ice pack on it. Xiangyi's eyes widened, not because of her brother's sneer, but because of his actions. Was he taking care of her? She uneasily wanted to retract her feet, but Sangchen gave her a warning look. "Don't move, behave." The little bunny didn't dare to move and sat on the sofa obediently. Xiangqi was still trying to explain his creativity. Brother, look at this outfit, it's brother and sister, and this outfit, it's sister and brother. Songchen's face was cold. Go on, go on, go on. See if I'll give you a look. Don't think I don't know, sister is your muse, your source of inspiration. That's right, all of Xiangqi's designs were more or less related to Xiangyi. The perfect combination of his siscon and his pursuit of the ultimate art miraculously created sparks of inspiration. Sangchen. Heh! Xiangqi was about to cry, and instinctively hid behind Shi Sui. Brother Shi, save me, he whispered. Shi Sui said good-naturedly, sure. Brother Shi, you're really too. Before he could finish, Shi Sui said with a smile, it's a paid service, 1 fee per visit. If you want to buy, be quick. It's up to you. Oh, F*CKU. You're so sure I have to beg you, right? Do you think I'm such a spineless person? Yes, I am. Xiangqi said fawningly. Okay, I'll listen to you, Brother Shi. Then he heard Shi Sui say leisurely, the company Sister E signed with is a bit of a scam. Why don't you sign with Xiangfeng's company? Whether you want to leave the industry or continue your career, you'll have more freedom. The word Xiangfeng naturally attracted hatred, and Shi Sui knew this very well. As expected, Sangchen frowned. What's he doing? It's been so long, and he still hasn't prepared the contract? Shi Sui chimed in. That's right, Sangchen. I'll call him right now. He threw the ice pack to Shi Sui and went to call Xiangfeng with a sullen face. Far away in Nancheng, Xiangfeng was still sleeping due to the jet lag. In a daze, he received a call from nephew Gu and was reprimanded. Xiangfeng? It was very fascinating. In the living room, Xiangqi was shocked to see that Songchen's attention had been diverted by the simple act of using his uncle as bait. What kind of operation was this? Teach me. Shi Sui bent down and carefully applied ice to Xiangyi's ankle. The girl's pink toes curled up, feeling extremely uncomfortable. She didn't think it was a big deal for her brother to give her an ice pack, however, it was Shi Sui. It seemed to be completely different. Does it still hurt? Shi Sui asked in a gentle voice and looked up. At that moment, Xiangyi actually didn't dare to make eye contact with him. The ambiguous atmosphere made her heart thump loudly, as if it had been hooked by a silk thread. Xiangyi cleared her throat and said, I'm done. Shi Sui asked, Are you sure? Xiangyi answered, Yes. Shi Sui finally put away the ice pack. Seeing how uneasy she was, he smirked and asked, Are you that scared of Sangchen? Is he going to eat you up? He originally meant to comfort Xiangyi, but to his surprise, the Xiang siblings widened their eyes in horror. Xiangqi murmured timidly, Xiangfeng doesn't eat people up, does he? Xiangyi swallowed her saliva and said, I don't think so. Oh my God, it's so scary. The two of them huddled together pitifully and shivered uncontrollably. Shi Sui was speechless. The demon of the Xiang family indeed lives up to his reputation. Chapter 291. Sangchen came back after the call and glanced at Xiangyi. We can sign the contract when we get back. Xiangyi. What kind of efficiency was this? Then Sangchen turned to look at Xiangqi. Xiangqi was curled up on the sofa like a boneless person. He straightened his back and rested his hands on his knees like a standard elementary school student. They looked at each other. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Xiangqi broke down. I was wrong. Sangchen said unhurriedly. Tell me, what did you do wrong? I was wrong in every way. Xiangqi said weakly. It's a couple outfit, but it's just a design. It doesn't mean that I support my sister's relationship. Sangchen said. Go on. Xiangqi confessed everything. I shouldn't have eaten my sister's dear biscuits, but I already had diarrhea yesterday. Xiangyi looked a little speechless. I said that you can't eat it. The next second, Xiangyi's devilish voice sounded. It's your turn, Xiangyi. The girl's first reaction was to move closer to Shi Sui. A smile appeared in Shi Sui's eyes as he placed his arm on the sofa behind her, making it seem as if he was holding the slender girl in his arms. The deer is so cute, I shouldn't have thought about eating it. The elementary school student answered in a trembling voice. She didn't look at all like a big shot who had just returned from transmigration. What else? Sangchen narrowed his eyes and stared at her meaningfully. Xiangyi looked confused. Apart from that, she didn't do anything bad. Sangchen sneered and deliberately tricked her. Don't think I don't know that you're in a relationship. His tone was so fierce and cold that Xiangyi panicked. I'm in a relationship? Shui was speechless. Chen Chen of the Xiang family is really high up the social ladder. Seeing his sister's reaction, Sangchen was slightly relieved. That's good. Xiangyi felt as if she had been granted amnesty. Then I'll go prepare the in-flight meal. She slipped into the kitchen, feeling as if she had dodged a bullet. Xiangqi couldn't be bothered to eat his sister's cooking anymore. He tidied up his big bowl and said, "Brother, I'm going to make a dress for my sister. Bye-bye." He wasn't a coward. He was following his heart and listening to the truest summons from the depths of his heart. Only Sangchen and Shui were left in the living room. Sangchen picked an armchair and sat down. His long legs were crossed and his arms were crossed. His aura was incomparably strong. I advise you, it's best that you don't have any thoughts about my little bunny. Shui. Okay. Big brother. Sangchen. Speak properly. Shui blinked. What if Tutu has ulterior motives toward me? Should I reluctantly accept it or act in self-defense? TSK, how worrying. Sangchen. He took a deep breath. There was only one thought in his mind. This dog of a man is really asking for a beating. Xiangyi had prepared a sumptuous meal. She either put it in a thermos or refrigerated it. She was going to put it all on Tutu's plane later. She was going to take a plane with Wuxia, which meant that they were going on a trip together. Albert followed the smell and shamelessly expressed that he wanted to try it. Xiangyi's eyes curved into crescents. I saved one for you. Albert was touched. Alice, you're an angel. The next second, Sangchen's cold voice rang out. You didn't make it for me? Pack it all up. Albert said angrily. Are you the devil? Sangchen nodded proudly. Thank you, you flatter me. Albert was speechless. Chapter 292. Under her brother's gaze, Xiangyi braced herself and packed up all the food. Tutu landed in the manor and Sangchen grabbed his sister's collar to board the plane. Albert waved goodbye to them with tears in his eyes, though it was unclear if he was upset because of the separation or because he couldn't eat Xiangyi's cooking. The plane hovered in the sky for thousands of miles. The deer in the forest seemed to have sensed something as they raised their heads and began barking, seemingly bidding farewell to Xiangyi. On Tutu, in addition to the resting area, there was also a tea area with a sofa and a coffee table. Sangchen was the first to take a seat. Shui sat opposite him. The two men then looked at Xiangyi in unison. The two rows of sofas were facing each other. In other words, Xiangyi could only choose to sit next to one of them. Xiangyi was speechless. If I sit next to Big Brother, I won't be able to escape when I get beaten up. It seems safer to sit next to Shui. With that thought in mind, she slowly moved forward and sat down next to Shui. In an instant, one was elated. The other had an icy cold gaze. Sangchen picked up the porcelain teacup with a straight face and took a sip of green tea. He wasn't angry. He wasn't angry at all. Shui, on the other hand, was calm and composed. She even began chatting with Xiangyi about the topic of two under one roof. Xiangyi gradually relaxed. Sangchen waited for more than 10 minutes, but Xiangyi did not take the initiative to speak to him at all. He almost crushed the porcelain teacup in his hand. Ahem. He cleared his throat. His words had the effect of silencing her. Xiangyi kept quiet out of fear, not daring to speak. Shui glanced at him with a smirk and remained silent. Sangchen frowned and thought, am I that scary? His white, well-defined fingers loosened his black tie. He unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of his shirt and leaned on the sofa in an extremely relaxed posture. However, when he opened his mouth, he sounded like a teacher lecturing a student. What do you plan to do next? Xiangyi froze for a few seconds before she realized that the question was directed at her. She whispered, no, I don't have any plans. I'm just going to record a variety show, cook some food and retire early. Sangchen asked casually, are you feeling too tired? Xiangyi shook her head. Cooking isn't tiring. How could she feel tired doing something she liked? Sangchen continued asking, did anyone bully you? He glanced at Shui meaningfully. Little Rabbit was extremely obedient and her voice was soft. No, everyone is very good. I feel that filming this variety show is quite fun. Sangchen replied with and said indifferently, if someone makes you unhappy, do you know what to do? I know how to answer this question. Xiangyi was a little excited. Tell the family. Childish, Sangchen said coldly. It's to make the other party even more unhappy, got it? Xiangyi. You don't even know how to do this? Do you still need me to teach you? Xiangyi swallowed her saliva. I think I know how to. Sangchen finally revealed a satisfied expression. The journey was long and Xiangyi soon felt sleepy. She leaned against the back of the sofa and fell asleep. Shui moved her little head to her shoulder as if there was no one else around. Sangchen. Do you think I'm dead? Before he could say anything, Shui spoke first. I didn't expect you to be angry. I didn't do it on purpose. Sangchen gritted his teeth. You! Shui interrupted him innocently. Don't be angry, brother. I'll apologize to you, okay? Sangchen. Even green tea can't compare to you. Chapter 293. Other than his uncle Xiangfeng, no one had made Sangchen so angry for many years. His voice was as cold as ice. You dare to take advantage of my sister in front of me? Brother, why would you think that? Shui smiled. I was just worried that Sister Yi wouldn't be able to sleep well, so I helped her. I didn't even ask Sister Yi to thank me. Sangchen inhaled and exhaled. Bear with it for a while. Bear with it, my ass. Seeing that the tutu was about to act violently, Shui successfully stopped Sangchen with one sentence. Brother, can you be gentler when you hit me? I don't want to disturb Sister Yi's rest. F***CKU. Glancing at the sleeping bunny, Sangchen closed his eyes and suppressed the urge to throw this man out of the plane. Perhaps it was because of her brother. Although Xiangyi seemed to be afraid of him on the surface, she subconsciously felt very safe. She slept for more than 2 hours. She opened her eyes in a daze and found herself leaning on Shui's shoulder. She quickly propped herself up and apologized softly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Why didn't you push me away? Sangchen was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. It was obviously this dog of a man who pressed you on his shoulder. He was just short of tying a rope to his body. Shui was calm and collected like a sly old fox. My shoulder is a little sore. Xiangyi suggested gently. Then let me massage it for you. Will it be too much trouble for you? No, it's my fault. Shui blinked her eyelashes. Thank you, Sister Yi. Sangchen saw this scene. If this wasn't the behavior of a green tea, then what was? He pinched his eyebrows and vaguely understood what Shui meant when she said that the bunny was plotting against him. It was this dog of a man who had dug a hole and tricked Little Rabbit into jumping in. However, what puzzled him was that the little rabbit had always been wary of outsiders. Why was she completely defenseless against this dog of a man? Although he was angry, he still had to eat. When the food was taken out of the thermos, it was still steaming. There were 6 dishes and 1 soup, all sumptuous and nutritious. Most of them were Sangchen's favorite dishes. Braised lion's head in soy sauce was made of 70% lean meat and 30% fatty meat. It was hand-chopped into minced meat and mixed with water chestnuts and shiitake mushrooms to make meatballs. The meatballs were first fried and then boiled. The meatballs were filled with mellow and fragrant sauce. The steamed carrot dish was made by shredding carrots, adding vegetable oil, flour, salt, and so on. After steaming, adding garlic juice and chili oil according to the taste. The shredded carrots were loose and soft. There was also mapo tofu, braised chicken, shrimp, scrambled eggs, winter melon, pork rib soup, and so on. Due to the limited ingredients overseas, Xiangyi made all the more common home-cooked dishes. However, Sangchen had not eaten for a long time. The taste of home. After tasting the first dish, his tightly knitted eyebrows relaxed. He even found Shui, this dog of a man, much more pleasing to the eye. Xiangyi nervously picked up a lion's head for Sangchen. Brother, you eat more. She was so nervous that her palms were sweaty. She was even prepared that her brother would throw the food she picked up into the trash can. However, she did not expect. Sangchen calmly ate the lion's head she picked for him. Xiangyi felt relieved and asked tentatively, "How's the taste?" Sangchen indifferently commented. The next second, He blocked Shui's chopsticks with his chopsticks and raised his eyebrows. Try picking up another one. Chapter 294. Xiangyi's brothers were all single. Whether or not they would protect their wives was an unsolved mystery, but protecting their food was one of their ancestral skills. It was comparable to climbing trees and being arrogant. When the eldest brother wasn't around, they would snatch his food. When the eldest brother was around, they would share his food. Of course, it wasn't an equal distribution. Instead, it was based on status and strength. Chun Chun of the Xiang family would always be number one. No one dared to take away a single grain of rice from him. After the distribution was completed, it was as if a wild beast had successfully divided its territory. Everyone was extremely protective of their food. Shui retreated in order to advance. She retracted her chopsticks and forced a smile at Xiangyi. It's okay, I can eat the vegetables. She then picked up a piece of vegetable and placed it in her bowl. In comparison, Sangchen was like a landlord who bullied the weak. Xiangyi wavered again. She moved closer to Shui and whispered in her ear. Don't be afraid, I'll leave some food for you. You can secretly eat it later. Don't get caught. Shui's eyes were filled with a scheming smile. Sister E, you're so nice. Sangchen, who had good hearing, twitched his eyebrows. More than 10 hours later, the plane arrived at the Xiang family's manor. Due to the time difference, it was still daytime in Nancheng. Sangchen didn't sleep much on the plane. Now that he had gotten off the plane, he went back to his room to catch up on sleep. Xiangyi slept for a long time. She was preparing to go to Little Rabbit Farm and bring back 2 geese to stew. Shui naturally accompanied her. The two of them strolled among the lush flowers and plants. For some reason, they felt like an old couple. Suddenly, Shui received a call from her agent, Sichuan Bai. He frowned. Xiangyi sensed that something was wrong and stopped in her tracks. The call didn't last long. After hanging up, Shui said apologetically, I'm sorry, I have to deal with something. I'm afraid I can't accompany you. Xiangyi said, It's okay, I can go by myself. Before she finished speaking, there was a dispute at the entrance of the manor. Out of the way. I want to see Shui. I saw the plane land. I want to see her. Now, don't touch me, or I'll call the police and say that you're F***ing me. The hysterical female voice, mixed with the persuasion of several security guards, was very noisy. Shui's face was as gloomy as still water, and there was a deep gloom at the bottom of his eyes. Xiangyi was slightly startled. In fact, she had never seen Shui lose her temper before, but she instinctively sensed it. He was angry. The man's thin lips pursed into a sharp line and strode towards the manor's gate. Xiangyi was worried that he would do something irrational, so she quickly caught up with him. At the entrance of the manor. All is well year-round. Her real name was Qiaorun. When she saw Shui's tall and slender figure from afar, her skinny face lit up. It was him. It's really him, he's coming to me. Shui's legs were long and his strides were big. Soon he was in front of her and nodded politely. Miss Qiao, right? I heard that you've been looking for me. The man's voice was much deeper than usual when he was angry. There was a hint of hoarseness in his voice, which made him more attractive. Qiaorun looked infatuated and couldn't wait to express her feelings. Yes, I've been looking for you for a long time. I'm your fan. I like you a lot. Shui said politely. Thank you for your love, but this is a private residence. Can I arrange for a car to send you away? Qiaorun said self-righteously. I'm not leaving. It wasn't easy for me to see you. Why should I leave? She was caught off guard and grabbed Shui's hand. Chapter 295. At the critical moment, Shui took a step back and avoided her touch. Qiaorun missed him and stumbled, almost falling down. She looked up at Shui in disbelief. Why did he avoid her? Was she a piece of trash that he wanted to avoid? I like you. I really like you. Qiaorun tried her best to express her feelings. I've liked you since you debuted. I've watched all of your movies and TV shows. I vote for you every day. I even gave up on studying for you. I've spent all my time on you. Qiaorun said. However, Shui did not show the slightest hint of being touched. Qiaorun suddenly had a thought. He looked gentle, but in fact he was more distant than anyone else. It's not a rational choice to give up on yourself for anyone. Shui said in a clear and calm voice. You have your own life, and I shouldn't be the only one in your life. Miss Chow, I won't hold it against you for secretly taking photos and following my car. I hope you can return to your normal life. I'll give you my blessings. Chow Ruan muttered. Do you mean you don't need my love? She widened her eyes in horror, completely unwilling to accept this reality. Coincidentally, she noticed Xiangyi. In fact, Xiangyi kept a distance from them. However, in the eyes of the extreme Chow Ruan, Xiangyi was deliberately provoking her. When she saw Xiangyi, her emotions became even more unstable. Is it because of her? What's so good about her? Why do you care about her? Why do you care about her? You shouldn't even look at her. She was extremely agitated. I'm the one who likes you the most. I'm the one who has done the most for you. Look at me, okay? Look at me, okay? Even if you like her, you should like me. Chow Ruan's logic was extreme. I like you and I've done a lot for you. Therefore, you should like me back. Otherwise, you'll be letting me down. Si Chuanbai's car arrived. He got out of the car and opened the back door. Shui's attitude was firm. Miss Chow, please. This was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for Chow Ruan. You want to chase me away? Because of that bitch Xiangyi. Shui, who had always been polite, suddenly said in a cold voice. Miss Chow, please watch your words. At this moment, the emotionless man's emotions were stirred. Chow Ruan refused to believe it. You scolded me because of her. Without my support, you are nothing. Now that you're famous, you want to dump me and like that be *tch. Shui, you're heartless. You heartless man. Si Chuanbai. He described himself as a wife who had gone through hardships, and Miss Xiangyi as a new lover. His ability to change concepts was truly superb. Miss Chow, this isn't the first time you've harassed Shui. You've eaten at the same restaurant as him, bought the seat next to him on the plane, and even knocked on his hotel door. You're an adult and should be responsible for your own actions. If you continue to act like this, I can only take measures to call the police. Then report it. Let's see if the police will arrest you or me when they come. I think you're trying to drive me to my death. Chow Ruan suddenly took out a holder from her bag. There was a phone attached to it and she clicked on the live broadcast. The words, "Countdown to Suicide," were displayed at the top of the screen. Chapter 296. A few minutes ago when she saw Tutu landing, Chow Ruan posted a notice on Weibo. All is well year-round. If all hope comes from you, then the pain I'm feeling now is also thanks to you. Perhaps leaving is the best relief. I'm tired, really. There was a link to the live stream attached. When the fans saw the words "Countdown to the live stream," they were all frightened. Oh my God, sister, don't take things too hard. Is there anyone who can contact her in the real world? I'm dying of anxiety. I don't know if it'll work, but based on her previous location, she should be from Nanqing Pingan Nanqing. Someone raised a question. Livestream suicide? Why does it feel like a publicity stunt or coercion? In just a few minutes there were hundreds of comments on that post. B*tch get lost. Who would risk their own life for publicity? F*CQ. Don't you have any sympathy? She's about to die, yet you're still being a troll. I hate this kind of thing the most. She's crying in front of the screen. When I see your post, I just want to curse. It was no exaggeration to say that this Weibo post had caused a great commotion in the industry. Hence, when the live stream was opened, tens of thousands of people immediately flooded in. When they saw the skinny and haggard Chow on Hao with reddened eyes, many people couldn't bear to see her like this. I can't imagine what you've been through. Sister, let me hug you. I'll treat you to milk tea, okay? Sigh, I've also been a fan of celebrities for many years, so I understand the pain of being out of reach. However, in the next second, Chow Ruan switched the camera to Shui's face and questioned, Tell me, do you like that B*tch Xiangyi? Even at such a close distance, the man's looks were still impeccable. His long eyelashes were lowered, and his thin lips were curved downwards. His entire body seemed to be covered in a layer of frost, and it was bone-chilling. Miss Chow, he said calmly, we are all independent individuals. We can choose to like the opposite sex, the same sex, or none of them. This is the freedom that we are born with. But liking someone should never be an action that harms others. The fans in the livestream room. F***CK? Sure. Oh my god, that's so cool. It's so awesome. No, am I the only one who's confused? All is well year round, why is she with Sure? Let me say something quietly. This seems to be the manner where Two Under One Roof was filmed. All is well year round, it's a bit like an obsessive fan. Chaoruan said. I can't win against you. I just want you to like me. Is it that difficult? I've done so much for you but you don't care about it at all. Is the support of your fans nothing to you? Sichuanbai's expression changed slightly. This piece of music was a little impressive. If he didn't deal with it properly, his fans might leave him. As Chaoruan's manager, he naturally put his artist's interests first. So he stepped forward to stop Chaoruan. Miss Chao, not only are you trespassing on private property, but you're also secretly taking photos. Shua Chaoruan took out a fruit knife and pretended to cut her wrist. Don't come over. Sichuanbai immediately dared not move. The fans in the livestream were dumbfounded. F***CK. She must be an obsessive fan. Chapter 297. Look at how skilled she is. She must have done this a lot. I'm so confused. What kind of illegitimate behavior is this? Based on the time, Sure Sui should have just returned to the country not long ago. He sat there for more than 10 hours without much rest and even had the camera pointed at his face. It's terrifying. The public opinion changed all of a sudden. Chaoruan glanced at the bullet screen in the live stream, but the comments made her very puzzled. Why aren't they supporting me anymore? Why did my live stream fail? However, she didn't have time to care about that now. She just wanted to threaten Sure Sui and make him compromise with her. However, to her surprise, Sure Sui gave a direct response to her question. I'm very grateful for the support of my fans. It's very fortunate for an actor to be liked and supported by others. Without fans, Sure Sui wouldn't have become the actor that I am today. But everyone wants to have an independent space where they won't be disturbed. I want my fans to focus on my work, not me, nor my private life. This response was courteous and sincere, and it left a very good impression on him. Boo-hoo, Sure Sui said it so well. He's an actor. An actor. He's not a target of harassment from All Is Well year round. Kokyu, it's not easy for Sure Sui. He's relied on his own abilities to make a name for himself. I didn't expect him to be treated like this by his obsessive fans. Sichuanbai was a little emotional. He knew very well that Sure Sui's words were not just polite words, but rather he really meant what he said. Fans were comparable to top-notch traffic. As long as he wanted to make use of his fans, he could earn a lot of money at any time. For example, he could take on some commercials for unlicensed brands without moral integrity. As long as he was thick-skinned enough, it would be easy for him to earn money. However, Sure Sui didn't. He didn't take on commercial activities easily and was extremely serious about acting. Even if it was a cameo appearance for free, he would never slack off and only act in a few scenes perfunctorily. Sichuanbai felt from the bottom of his heart that Sure Sui was really worthy of his fans' love and achievements. However, Chaoruan panicked. Without public opinion, what else could she use to threaten Sure Sui? She made up her mind and said, I just want you to accompany me for 3 days. After 3 days, I won't disturb you again for the rest of my life. If you don't agree, I will. So what? Sure Sui interrupted her. You don't even cherish your own life. Have you ever considered the feelings of those who care about you? However, Chaoruan did not listen to him at all. Her eyes were red. You can't even agree to this small request of mine? Some fans in the livestream couldn't help but comment. Actually, Shuringdi can agree first and coax her. Sure Sui is a little too cold-blooded. How can she be reasonable at a time like this? Human lives were at stake. Does he even understand? Yeah, it's not a big deal to tell a white lie. I feel like this All Is Well year-round girl's mental state is quite unstable. It's better to lie to her first and then hand her over to the doctor for treatment. The group of people gestured in the air, as if they were the wisest and wisest ones. Suddenly, Chaoruan slid her hand to her wrist. Just as the blade pierced her skin, her wrist was grabbed by a pair of strong hands. Chaoruan struggled with all her might. In her panic, she ended up stabbing Sure Sui's forearm. She screamed as if she had gone crazy and threw her phone away. Shi Sui remained calm and even indifferently took the fruit knife from her hand. His cold and fair skin was covered in blood. His voice was cold and very soft. I'm sorry, but I can't lie to you. Because I have someone I like. I want to be a good person for her sake. Chapter 298. His hoarse voice was low and deep, but it made Xiaoruan's heart skip a beat. For a second, she even thought that Shi Sui would stab her in the heart with that knife. But it was only for a second. The man spun the knife casually, even more casually than he spun a pen. Then he threw it far away. Clang. The fruit knife fell to the ground. The phone fell to the ground and the camera was facing the ground. The netizens in the livestream saw nothing but darkness. The more confused they were about the situation, the faster the comments flooded in. Did Shi Sui get stabbed? I only have one thing to say to the Saising fans: die. Shi Sui's eye, please be safe. Cry. Cry. This woman is crazy. What's the point of threatening others with her own life? Shi Sui's voice was too soft, so no one except Xiaorun heard it. Si Chuanbai quickly joined forces with the other security guards to hold Xiaorun down. The sound of police sirens could be heard from afar. Xiaorun broke down completely. You like her? How can you like her? How is she better than me? She's just a cheap. Si Chuanbai calmly stuffed her mouth with a rag he picked up. Xiaorun was so angry that she rolled her eyes, but she couldn't say a word. Soon Xiaorun was taken away by the police, and her phone was also taken into the police car as evidence. The livestream was closed. In the last shaky scene, a slender figure was seen running towards Shi Sui. The netizens who stayed behind were still discussing enthusiastically. I'm curious how long she'll be locked up for this kind of behavior. At most, she'll be criticized and educated. What I'm more worried about now is whether someone will imitate her. Is that Xiang Yi who flashed by at the end? Sister Yi, hurry up and take a look at Shi Sui's arm. Am I the only one who thinks that the vase fairy is at fault this time? If she hadn't seduced Shi Sui, she wouldn't have angered all as well year-round, and this wouldn't have happened. As soon as this comment was posted, it was rebutted by the netizens. Yes, you're the only one who thinks so. Dear, I suggest you go to the hospital to see a neurologist. Yes, whatever you say is right. Come, let's all wish it a safe journey. Candle. The manor. Xiang Yi ran so fast that she was panting slightly when she stopped. She didn't have time to rest, but took off her thin sunscreen jacket to stop the bleeding on Shi Sui's hand. Then she held Shi Sui's other hand. Let's go back and treat our wounds. Shi Sui let her hold her hand and followed behind her obediently. The coldness and ruthlessness she had shown when she faced Xiaoru just now disappeared and was replaced by a gentle and lazy tone. Are you worried about me? Xiang Yi blamed herself. I should have stayed with you. That way I could have protected you. Shi Sui is really too delicate. Behind him, Si Chuanbai was speechless. He seemed to be at a loss for words. Not to mention, Shi Sui had received an elite education when she was a teenager, and was highly skilled in martial arts. Later on, when she filmed a martial arts movie, she also learned kickboxing from a world-class coach. Logically speaking, she should have been able to dodge that blow just now. Si Chuanbai seriously suspected that his artiste was trying to scam him. He overheard the conversation between the two of them. Sister Yi, it hurts a little, the man said in a feeble tone. The girl coaxed him softly. Shall we have stewed goose in a pot later? The man chuckled and said, Sure. Chapter 299. In the living room, Xiang Yi took out the first aid kit and cleaned Shi Sui's wound before carefully disinfecting it. Fortunately, the wound wasn't deep and it was just a flesh wound. It was just that he was bleeding profusely. Xiang Yi looked up at him and asked, Do you want to take some painkillers first? I think I can endure it for a while longer. It's okay, you don't have to endure it. Si Chuanbai was speechless. Why did I come in? I'm just applying some medicine. What kind of nonsense is that? Xiang Yi said softly. Actually, I'm a little hard of hearing. If you want to cry, I won't be able to hear anything. Shi Sui blinked and stared at her for a few seconds before looking at Si Chuanbai. It was as if he was asking, Why are you still here? Si Chuanbai was dressed in an elite black suit. He sat upright and still, but deep down he was thinking. He was definitely not going to let her cook him a stewed goose today. Cough, I'm not that hard of hearing either. I've never scored full marks for an English test. The famous manager was forced to admit that he was hard of hearing. Xiangyi took out some painkillers and was about to pass them to Shui when he opened his mouth calmly and said, "Ah," like a child asking for candy. The young girl instinctively stuffed the pills into his mouth. Her fingertips brushed against his thin lips. It was cool and moist to the touch. She curled her fingers uncomfortably and lowered her head to continue bandaging his wound. After a while, Shui said, "Sister E, it still hurts a lot." Xiangyi was worried. "This painkiller won't take effect that quickly. Why don't I think of another way?" The man's dark eyes gradually darkened. Like a cat, his gaze shifted to her lips as if he was sleeping. Si Chuanbai was speechless. Why was his artiste more delicate than his little wife? Back then, she could still finish filming with a smile even when she broke a bone. How could she not be able to tolerate this pain? He watched as Xiangyi carefully inserted a few needles into his wound. "Are you feeling better?" "Much better." Xiangyi was relieved. She patted his head and said, "Have a good rest. I'll make you something to eat." Unexpectedly, when she walked towards the small outdoor kitchen, Shui followed behind her like a little tail. "Xiangyi?" Shui's expression did not change. "I want to do a live stream and explain to my fans so that they don't have to worry." Xiangyi suddenly understood. "You're so thoughtful. Should I call Director Li over for you?" When it came to live streaming, Li Jinyu was still the most skilled. Shui raised her hand and hooked the hem of the girl's shirt with her fair and slender fingers. "But I won't be streaming alone. I want to do it with you, Sister E. Si Chuanbai." He raised his hand to his forehead to hide his dumbfounded expression. He really couldn't bear to look at her. "Oh, I see." Xiangyi didn't think it was a big deal. After all, Shui was a fragile man. "Let's do it together then." As a result, today's episode of Two Under One Roof began airing in advance. Dear viewers and friends, don't pass by. Today's menu: stewed goose in an iron pot. The main ingredient is a goose. That's it. Li Jinyu was particularly mischievous and got the cameraman to take a picture of the white goose that was still strolling around carefreely. The white goose was bold and took a domineering stride towards the cameraman. It tilted its head and asked, "Quack." The pop-up comments: "Hurry. Run. Ah. Danger, danger, danger. I feel like reciting a poem at this moment. Goose, goose, goose. Cut its neck with a knife, pluck its feathers and boil it in water. Stewed goose in an iron pot." Chapter 300. In the next second, a pair of fair and slender hands seemed to have appeared out of thin air and mercilessly picked it up. "It's so fat, it'll definitely be very fragrant when stewed," the girl commented in a gentle voice. The netizens were dumbfounded. "What? Little fairy, why are you saying the cruelest things in the most gentle tone? Goose 'cause of death, too fat. How many times have I told you? If you're too fat, you'll be eaten." I'm shivering in front of the screen as I munch on duck neck and drink milk tea. The big white goose, which was extremely ferocious and had a heartless mouth, met Xiangyi, who was even more heartless. It screamed as it was taken away. The cameraman even took a long shot of Xiangyi as she walked away, looking as if she didn't care about anyone else. A few minutes later, the goose was taken away. The process was too gory, so by the time everyone saw the goose, it was already lying naked on the chopping board. The netizens were very mischievous. "Goose, you're all cheap. You're all craving for my body. This show is so delicious. Ahem, it's so interesting, I'm going to record the recipe now." The goose's life was short and glorious, ordinary yet great. It passed away peacefully. There were also a few haters who complained. "I feel so bad. Goose is so cute, why do you have to eat goose? Why must you eat goose? Are you that greedy? That's a life we're talking about. Girls should be gentle and virtuous. Slaughtering small animals is too cruel. The vase fairy is so cold-blooded." The netizens' response to this was, "Don't look at the idiot." Because it was time for everyone's happy mukbang. The fresh goose meat was cut into small pieces, and water was added to the pot to boil the meat. Scallions, ginger, garlic, dried chili, orange peel and cilantro were cut and set aside. She then heated up the oil and added the goose meat for stir-frying. She then added the old soy sauce and cooking wine and stir-fried them evenly. At this point, the aroma of the goose meat had already spread. The staff at the scene couldn't help but take a few deep breaths and subconsciously began to salivate. Xiangyi added an appropriate amount of water to the pot and simmered it with firewood. The goose meat would be simmered for about 40 minutes before adding the side dishes. This was the perfect time to interact with Shui's fans. The little girl looked up at Shui. The two of them had a tacit understanding. Shui immediately said, "As you can see, the goose has been stewed." Upon hearing his voice, some fans immediately asked about his situation. Li Jinyu asked the staff to bring over a tablet so that he could better see the comments of the netizens in the live broadcast room. "I'm sorry to have made everyone worried. My injuries are not serious and have been treated." "It's true. I'm not lying to you." Shui smiled. "Liars have long noses." The fans in the live broadcast room were excited by his smile. "Ah, Shuringdi, don't laugh like that. Too flirtatious, too flirtatious. My legs are turning to jelly. Who can resist this? The sense of immersion is so strong. I feel like I'm already on my way to getting married to Shui. What do you think of all is well year-round's behavior?" Shui muttered to himself. Xiangyi, who was behind him, naturally handed him a small stool, and he took the opportunity to sit down. He sat upright and had a noble temperament, as if he shouldn't be in this smoky kitchen. He restrained his smile and spoke with a sincere and serious attitude. "There's nothing wrong with liking someone, and this kind of feeling shouldn't be trampled on. Everyone has the right to like someone, and similarly they also have the right to not like someone. Please don't turn your personal liking into a burden for others." Chapter 301. Following Shui's low voice, the live stream. "Boo-hoo, this man is so gentle." From the beginning to the end, he didn't define all is well year-round as an obsessive fan. He probably wants to save the other party some face. QQ, he can still be so calm and composed when he's being harassed and hurt. Seriously, even if he's pretending, I love Shuringdi's worldview. Someone noticed that Xiangyi was busy sitting on a small stool next to her and commented out of curiosity, not expecting Shui to be the one to pick her up. "What's Sister E doing?" "She's picking peas." The camera turned to Xiangyi, who cooperated. "I'm going to make pea cakes." Li Jinyu, "Oh? You can make this yourself?" Xiangyi, "Yes, but it's a bit time-consuming. Normally she wouldn't make this, but Xiangyi liked it, so it was worth it to spend some time." Shui drawled lazily. "Sister E, everyone has a lot of questions for you." However, he refused to say what the questions were. What did they ask? The tablet was in Shui's hands and the comments flew by. In order to get a better look, Xiangyi unknowingly drew closer to him. In the camera, their heads were almost touching. The couple fans who hadn't eaten sweets for a few days were extremely excited. "Ah, sisters, I'll give you a salute first. I'll say it again, untimely SCD. It's true." Sitting on a small stool in a row and reading the comments head to head. "Shui's sister E is so cute." Seeing the words untimely, Xiangyi's ears began to heat up. She began to think of the content that Anan had shown her before. "Ahem, you want to know the recipe? I'll write down the details later and post it on Weibo." Xiangyi picked out the question seriously. She wanted to ignore the words untimely, but the man next to her suddenly said something. Untimely? Isn't that an idiom?" The tone of this sentence was innocent, and the expression was blank. It could be said that she was naive and sweet. "Xiangyi?" She hummed dryly and pretended to be very serious as she continued to pick the beans. Bullet screen. "Ha ha ha. I bet Sistery knows the true meaning of untimely. Hehe. It's obvious that the vase fairy is leading the hype. Poor Shuringdi, he's been kept in the dark so miserably. What a joke. This is the first time I've seen a CP fan dance in front of the main character. Do they have brains? I'm just asking if it's awkward." The next second, Shui took out his phone. Because his right forearm was injured, he had to use his left hand to type, so his typing was a little slow. However, "Oh, so it's a combination of our names." Shui clicked her tongue. "There's a superscript. I'll go in and take a look." Xiangyi. The little girl's expression changed slightly. losing her usual calmness. You don't look? It was too late. Shui looked at it. Not only did he look at it, but he also commented in real time. This Q version of the character is quite cute. Cut the video of the sweet exploding your girlish heart. Self-made untimely emoji pack. Follow the comments to receive it. On Weibo Shui's Weibo account, there was the following update. Shui has followed the superscript untimely. Come and play with me. Shui has checked in with the superscript, only for a day in a row. Come and check in with me. Shui has contributed all the points to the superscript, untimely. Come and hit the leaderboard with me. The netizens were speechless. Chapter 302. The netizens were dumbfounded. In particular, the netizens who did not watch the live stream began leaving comments on Shui's Weibo account. Could it be that his account was hacked? Shui. I'm rooting for myself and Sister E to be a couple. It's fine that he's following them, but why is he still voting? The netizens who were watching the show played the role of popularizing the situation. Shui and Xiangyi are doing a live stream together. When interacting with the fans, Shui saw that someone mentioned that it was inappropriate for them to be together. Hence, she searched for it and even paid attention to it. This man is so good at variety shows. I'm impressed. There were also some who whispered and questioned. Is it really for variety shows? I feel like he's more into it than I am. Of course, the Shui sisters were adamant that it was for variety shows. Before Shui's official announcement was made, they would never give Xiangyi a proper status. In the small kitchen, the aroma of the stewed goose meat was already wafting out of the iron pot. Xiangyi had also added some Chinese herbs such as ginger, grass, nutmeg, and so on. The faint aroma of the herbs blended perfectly with the aroma of the meat, making it seem like a living immortal. However, Xiangyi's mind was not on the dishes at all. She couldn't help but ask, I heard that it's a CP. CP means couple. So? Shui asked calmly as he looked her in the eye. Her rhetorical question made Xiangyi dumbfounded. Am I making a mountain out of a molehill? Shui seems to be just surfing the internet for fun. It shouldn't be a big deal to follow him. If Sangchen or Xiangli were present, they would definitely be able to tell that Shui was up to no good. That's a skill that can fool people. Xiangyi successfully brainwashed herself and completed her logic. I'm rooting for myself. It seems quite fun. In the live stream, Sister Yi's expression changed from confusion to determination. I'm dying of laughter. Xiangyi, don't be fooled by that old fox. You're not allowed to date. Mama, no. Newbie, what kind of lame show is this? First, it stews a goose, and now it's knocking itself on the head. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to join the update list. The entire live broadcast room was filled with ha laughter. Hashtag untimely hashtag and hashtag Shui's #1 fan hashtag were also trending. The popularity of the hot topics had skyrocketed, and Shui and Xiangyi had also gained a lot of fans. South City at a dinner party. Qin Wanyan drank with him for half a day, thinking that she could get some resources from the variety show. Although it was only a flying guest for one episode, this was a national-level variety show. Everyone, from the elderly to the elementary and middle school students, loved to watch it. However, she only went to the bathroom to touch up her makeup. When she returned, she saw the director and the others laughing at their phones. Ha. Shui is so funny. This female artist is also funny. Her name is Xiangyi. I've been following two under one roof. She's quite versatile. She can play musical instruments. She can also practice medicine. And she's a great cook. Oh? In that case, she's quite suitable for our variety show. Seeing that the resources were about to go to Xiangyi, Qin Wanyan clenched her fists and said softly, Xiangyi, I know her. She used to be good friends with me, but she's been ignoring me ever since she became famous. The director frowned. Qin Wanyan took the opportunity to fan the flames. She's been entangled with many male artists. I have screenshots here. While showing the screenshots to the director and the others, Qin Wanyan said, to use a popular phrase, she's a sea queen. Chapter 303. In the past year, Xiangyi had sent her a lot of screenshots of their chats. Qin Wanyan had specially created a folder and saved all the pictures. Qin Wanyan was actually very disdainful of Xiangyi. She was clearly the daughter of a wealthy family, But she was a love-struck fool who couldn't help but flirt with good-looking boys whenever she saw one. However, she seemed to have reached an agreement with a mysterious person that forbade her from dating or having any intimate relations with boys. Hence, she only dared to touch the hands of other boys, such as Yan Nai and Xiaoyang. Yan Nai has also been harassed by her before. He's the son of Yan Zhenhua director Yan. Later on, he was traumatized. Xiaoyang from the Xiao family has also been taken advantage of by her. With the chat records as evidence, coupled with the names of the two people mentioned by Qin Wanyan, the faces of the director and the others became more and more sullen. Seeing this, Qin Wanyan ruthlessly revealed a piece of shocking news. The most exaggerated thing is that she once climbed into her own brother's bed. In an instant there was an uproar. In the live stream of Two Under One Roof, the steaming hot stewed goose was out of the oven. The golden goose meat was scooped into a porcelain white soup bowl. After several hours of stewing, the meat was soft and the bones were peeled off. With a gentle pinch of chopsticks, the bones and meat were easily separated. There were also cut potatoes and carrots in it, which added to the color of the dish. After taking a whiff, the aroma overflowed. After taking a bite, the aftertaste was endless. Along with a few light vegetarian dishes, a sumptuous meal was ready. The netizens were about to cry. "Goose, you died so tragically. My tears are flowing from the corners of my mouth. My takeout hasn't arrived yet. I'm crying so hard. I'm dying. The only bag of instant noodles left at home has expired for several months. Can I still eat it? I'm waiting online. It's urgent. This meal is too sumptuous. Sister E, I'm hurting all over. Can you send me a portion by express delivery? Or send me to your house by express delivery?" Xiang Yi was about to wake up Yan Nai, but he woke up first. Because he was at home, the man was no longer wearing formal clothes. Instead, he had changed into black silk home clothes. His movements were calm and elegant, and as soon as he entered the camera, he captured the attention of countless people. "What the F***CK? Is this the new guest? Hey man, you've successfully attracted my attention. I want all his information in 5 minutes. Those legs, that waist, I vaguely saw abdominal muscles just now, they're so tough. This rice is so handsome. Cough, this brother smells so good. Cough cough, this beauty is a feast for the eyes. The ancients didn't lie. Found it. I used the image recognition function to find him. The founder of Linchin law firm Sangchen." Wait, the last time Professor Xiangli came, Xiang Yi seemed to call him second brother. Could this Sangchen be big brother? There was a lot of discussion in the live stream. Sangchen had already calmly sat down. He seemed to be unintentionally separating Xiang Yi and Sure Sui from each other. The temperament of a domineering brother protecting his sister was firmly grasped. Sichuanbai didn't care. He picked up a piece of goose meat and stuffed it into his mouth. The tender and fragrant goose meat had a pure taste. It was fragrant but not greasy, and had a faint herbal aroma. It tasted so good. Delicious. It's so delicious. Sichuanbai rarely lost his composure. Sure Sui also nodded gently, indicating that it tasted good. Sangchen was the only one who said indifferently, "It's just so." Immediately a netizen pointed out, "This is the first time the vase fairy has failed. This man is definitely not her biological brother." Chapter 304. This comment garnered the approval of many people. "I'm so annoyed by Vase Fairy's brainless praises. So every man is your brother? Don't you think Xiang Yi is like a white lotus who had a bunch of brothers when she was in school? Wake up, Sangchen is a top financial lawyer in the country who only takes on IPO cases. The truly impressive lawyers don't even have to appear in court to earn tens of millions of yuan in commission. Is Xiang Yi worthy of him? Why does she get all the good things?" Most people felt that Sangchen was likely to be Xiang Yi's brother, but they couldn't resist the logical analysis of the haters and their confident tone, causing many people to waver. Well, Xiang Yi's brothers included an esports guru, an international fashion designer, a genius medical doctor, and a top financial lawyer. How could it be possible? At the dining table, Xiang Yi tasted the goose meat and frowned slightly. It seems a little out of place with a few spices mixed together, but that's not right. I've mixed them like this before. Sichuanbai was speechless. Are you serious, Miss Xiangyi? Are you that strict with your culinary skills? To him, this was already a delicacy that he would only get to eat a few times in his life. God knows how much he wanted his artiste to marry Miss Xiangyi. Even if he couldn't marry her, he might as well marry into her family. He was willing to be Miss Xiangyi's manager in the future, as long as he could have such a meal occasionally in the future. Sangchen said indifferently, "Mushroom." Xiangyi immediately understood. "Ah, I see." Shui said thoughtfully, "Is there a conflict between spices?" Si Chuanbai was speechless. He was a top manager, but at this moment he felt like he was the only one in elementary school who didn't know anything. His dumbfounded expression was so hilarious that Li Jinyu shamelessly asked the photographer to take a few more close-up shots of him. However, Li Jinyu was indeed curious. "What's going on, Sister E?" Xiangyi said. "Mushrooms are rich in glutamic acid, which is an acidic amino acid. They have a unique taste and can be dissolved in water. This is one of the reasons why mushroom soup is so delicious. However, it conflicts with the seasoning, so the soup tastes a little strange." She tasted it carefully, then picked out a piece of Chinese medicine seasoning and made a judgment. "It should be this." "Li Jinyu, let me have a taste. I won't believe you if you don't have proof." Bullet screen. I suggest everyone type the word "shameless old thief" on the public chat. Xiangyi served him a bowl of stewed goose. Li Jinyu tasted it and his eyes widened. "Such delicious food, I can swallow it whole. What was strange about it?" He finished the meat and potatoes in 2 or 3 bites and drank the soup in a huff. He shamelessly said, "It's too little. I can't taste anything. Give me another bowl." The bullet screen was instantly flooded with, "I've never seen such a shameless director. Is it that magical? Lawyer Xiang's taste is too picky. Xiangyi's taste buds are so strong. She can actually guess which seasoning it is with just one taste. Who knows if it's true or not? Maybe she's just making things up. Who knows if she's bragging? Toxic. If it's not delicious, why would director Li Shui and Si Chuanbai enjoy it so much? I think in some people's eyes, Sister Yi's existence is the original sin. Everything she does is wrong. Vase Fairies fans, stop trying to scare her. There's a new melon that you've cooked on Weibo. Open it and you'll be surprised. Chapter 305. She clicked on Weibo to see that hashtag Qin Wanyan had been deleted in seconds. It was at the 4th position on the hot search list and its popularity was still rising. The reason was that Qin Wanyan had posted a 9-grid screenshot and deleted it very quickly. She then posted on Weibo to claim that her account had been hacked. However, in this era where the internet had memories, it was too easy to find traces of the screenshot. Some netizens reposted the screenshots that Qin Wanyan had posted. All of them were chat records and they were screenshots from the chat records. Although the pictures were blurry, the netizens couldn't resist the enthusiasm of the netizens and soon, the content was deciphered. The first picture was of Xiangyi complaining to Qin Wanyan. "Yan Nai's little brother is quite cute, but he's so shy. I just touched his hand and his ears and neck are all red." The next picture was of the conversation between Xiangyi and Yan Nai. Frowny face Xiangyi. "Is Yan Nai asleep? Are you free tomorrow night? Let's have dinner together, okay? Yan Nai." "Yan Nai. Sister Xiangyi, don't do this in the future. I really find it disgusting." The second picture was of Xiangyi showing off. "After flirting with him for so long, I finally got Xiaoyang. He thinks he's my one and only. What a joke. I'm actually just rearing a fish. It's silly for a woman to pin all her happiness on one man. I'll be happier if I find a few more." The next picture was of the conversation between Xiangyi and Xiaoyang. Frowny face Xiangyi. "Hubby shy. Xiaoyang. Wifey, send me a kiss." Xiangyi. "I miss you so much. I'm working so hard on the variety show and you didn't even come to visit me." Xiaoyang. "Baby, it's been hard on you. I'll go tomorrow. I'll also arrange for a food truck and a milk tea cart for you. You have to give baby the best support in the world." In addition, there were also chat records with other artists, music producers, and rich heirs. If that was all, everyone would at most think that she was just a female version of Poseidon. Although she flirted a lot, she didn't have the guts to be lustful. She was all talk and no action. But the last picture caused everyone's worldview to explode. In the record, Qin Wanyan was the one who started the conversation. Are you on bad terms with your family? Xiangyi replied. Last time I accidentally climbed into my big brother's bed. He was so angry that he almost scared me to death. Sob sob sob. I didn't do it on purpose. I feel wronged. The picture in the picture was a conversation between her and her brother. Xiangyi. Big brother, don't ignore me. I know I was wrong. Xiangyi. Big brother. Can you give me some pocket money? I've been so broke lately. Xiangyi. Gij gij, pay attention to me. Sanction. Busy Xiangyi. Can I fly abroad to play with you? I promise that what happened last time won't happen again. Sanction. Behave or else you know the consequences. Weibo exploded. The server was on the verge of collapse. The netizens vented their anger on Xiangyi's Weibo. Initially, she had posted detailed recipes for 2 dishes. Although there weren't many comments below, they were heartwarming. However, there was now a bloodbath. Her persona has collapsed. She's taking advantage of Anai's younger brother? Be more serious. Do you think our god is a spare tire? You're rearing fish? Screw you. You're an orphan. I'm so disgusted. She climbed into Lawyer Xiang's bed and still has the cheek to act coquettishly with him? To highlight, he's her biological brother. Ugh, my dinner from last night is about to pop out. Chapter 306. There was an uproar on Weibo, Melon Forums, WeChat Moments. Tomato Entertainment's public relations department acted as if they didn't exist. They were lying flat and accepting the ridicule, as if they had nothing to do with it. Instead, it became a signal that these revelations must be true. Otherwise, why didn't Xiangyi herself or Xiangyi's management company come out to deny it? At the very least, they should have issued a statement or sent a lawyer's letter to warn her. If they didn't deny it, it would be equivalent to admitting it. If they couldn't prove their innocence, they would have to suffer. In the apartment, Qin Wanyan looked at the silly netizens celebrating and smirked smugly. On WeChat, her manager sent her a message. Wanyan, the contract for that variety show has been sent over. If you don't have any questions, I'll confirm it. Qin Wanyan replied with an okay, threw her phone aside, and slowly poured herself a glass of wine. I really don't understand that stupid woman, Xiangyi. She clearly has so many good cards, but she didn't use them in the past year. Now she's messed up her good cards and lost everything. She's even bringing up her brothers again. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. If the appearance of her 3 brothers had helped her increase her popularity, then now, Qin Wanyan was like a bomb. Now Big Brother's appearance was like a bomb. She only pulled the fuse a little and it exploded with a bang. No matter what, Xiangyi couldn't afford to be accused of seducing her brothers. Imagining Xiangyi being nailed to the pillar of shame for the rest of her life, Qin Wanyan drank her red wine happily. In the manner. After Li Jianyu saw the news that the staff handed to him, he immediately ordered the livestream to end. The livestream came to an abrupt end, followed by a statement on the official Weibo account of 2 under 1 roof, saying that there was a problem with the equipment and that the restoration time was to be determined. The netizens expressed that they didn't buy it. Please clean up Xiangyi's misdeeds. Smile smile smile. Haha. I thought this show was meant to help Shui stabilize his popularity, but now it seems that it's just to promote XY. Vase Fairy is definitely the royal of variety shows. She's been supporting her openly and secretly. Even when something happened, she didn't give up. No matter how much the fans protest, she's still focused. This popular variety show will sooner or later be ruined by her. Fortunately, the live stream ended before the situation escalated further. Xiangyi was dumbfounded when she saw the screenshot. She would never have thought that the terrible thing that her uncle was talking about was that the person who had taken over her body had climbed into her big brother's bed. The girl's face was pale. She pushed away the bowl and chopsticks and staggered back to her room. He did not even dare to turn around to look at Sangchen. She was afraid to see the look of disgust in her elder brother's eyes. She was even more afraid that her brother would never forgive her in this lifetime. Sangchen frowned. He stood up and wanted to chase after her, but was stopped by Shui. Get out of my way. Sangchen's tone was cold. Shui said helplessly, is there no one in your Xiang family who knows how to coax girls? Sangchen snorted. Do I need you to teach me that? Sure Sui. TSK. Let me guess. How are you going to coax her? Give her a candy? Sangchen had one hand in the pocket of his home clothes, and his fingertips were gently twirling a candy when he suddenly paused. Milk candy. Sure enough, it's a family heirloom. The corners of Sure Sui's mouth twitched slightly. Let me do this kind of thing. He blinked his long eyelashes at Sangchen. Brother, I'm the best at comforting Sister E. Chapter 307. Xiangchen's jawline was taut, and his aura was sharp and cold, with a natural sense of oppression. The innocent Si Chuanbai was a little flustered. He felt that Sangchen could beat up Sure Sui at any time. However, in the end, his sister-complex nature prevailed. Xiangchen closed her eyes and gritted her teeth. If I can't coax you, you'll be dead. Sure Sui replied. Okay. Sangchen was speechless. Xiangyi hugged her knees and sat on the floor. She leaned against the side of the bed and her mind was in a mess. Perhaps second brother's guess was right. She wasn't the real fast transmigrator. She was just a substitute. In the fast transmigration world, she didn't care if she was mocked, betrayed, framed or abandoned, because those were people who had nothing to do with her. She didn't care. But now all her efforts seemed to have turned into a joke. Xiangyi thought that she had a good mentality and could handle life and death situations calmly. But now her mentality had really collapsed. No matter how strong a person was, they had their weaknesses. Xiangyi couldn't accept this reality. Click. The door lock moved slightly. Xiangyi turned a deaf ear to it. She only raised her head slowly when she felt a warm and strong hand on her head. It was Sure Sui. She forced herself to be alert and asked in a soft and hoarse voice, How did you get in? Sure Sui cleared his throat, as if he didn't think it was something to be proud of. I was in prison for a few days when I was acting in a movie, and learned some lock-picking skills. I see. Xiangyi pursed her lips. She wanted to reply with a smile, but she felt that she couldn't even smile. Sure Sui's eyes flickered. He bent down and sat beside her. One of his long legs was on the ground while the other was slightly bent. As he moved, his ankle bones were exposed and the soft cotton fabric rubbed against his fair skin. You don't have to smile if you don't want to. Do you want a shoulder or a tissue? I recommend the shoulder option because I'm wearing sweat-absorbent clothes today. It should be good for absorbing tears. Do you want to try it, Sister E? Xiangyi hesitated for a few seconds before she slowly, gently, and carefully leaned on his shoulder. Although she always said that Sure Sui was a little kid, in her heart, Sure Sui was still the reliable and gentle brother next door whom she had found reliable since they were young. Sure Sui remained silent and accompanied her silently. The room was extremely quiet. After an unknown period of time, Xiangyi said in a low voice, I suddenly miss Mom and Dad. Sure pursed his thin lips. The parents of Xiangyi and the others had died in an accident, and the cruelest thing was that Xiangyi was the only survivor of that accident. She witnessed her parents' deaths with her own eyes. She also experienced some rumors that shouldn't have existed. Those boring and ugly so-called elders would repeatedly whisper in her ears, Do you miss your parents? Your brothers will blame you for being a jinx. You've become an unwanted child. You've become an unwanted child. Once little Xiangyi started crying, they would say, this child can't be teased. We're just joking. What's there to cry about? Sure Sui's voice was gentle as he coaxed her patiently. Uncle and Auntie have become stars in the sky, protecting you. Sangchen and the others have never blamed you or been angry with you, because all of them know that you're the best sister in the world. Xiangyi. Chapter 308. Xiangyi didn't say anything, but her nose was a little sour. Her forehead was pressed against Sure Sui's shoulder, and she could feel the warmth of his body. Sure Sui whispered, My hearing isn't very good either. Others might not understand, but Xiangyi immediately understood. He repeated what she had said before. The girl's nasal voice was thick. I won't cry. She probably cried too much when she was young, and now that she was older she couldn't cry anymore. When she was sad, her first reaction was not to cry, but to endure. Sure Sui chuckled. Well, our Sister E has always been a very strong child. He still remembered the fair and soft Xiangyi, crying and driving away those annoying elders. She looked so fierce when she left. At that time Xiang Li was holding her. Xiang Feng spat at those people, and Xiang Yu was spitting profanities. As for Sangchen, he was even more ruthless. He weighed a brick and stood on the side like a cold-faced king of hell, a proper threat. No matter how the 5 children fought at home, they would always stand together outside. Xiang Yi calmed down for a while, and her emotions calmed down a little. She belatedly realized that Shi Sui had also seen that her. Quickly transmigrate back, she was on the bed in his room. Shi Sui didn't mention this matter again, and Xiang Yi thought that he didn't care. Now that she thought about it, did he find something wrong? We. Xiang Yi licked her cherry lips, raised her small face and asked, "That day at the hot spring villa, nothing happened between us, right?" Shi Sui raised his eyebrows, and his dark eyes were unfathomable. "Do you think something should have happened between us?" This involved a blind spot in her knowledge again. Xiang Yi was a little embarrassed. "At that time, did I defile you?" Shi Sui asked with a half-smile. "Ruin." Xiang Yi was annoyed. It was all Nan's fault for using such a magical word. She had such a deep impression of this word that she blurted it out. Ahem. Then let me rephrase my question. At that time, did I do anything to you that was not in line with the core values of socialism? The little girl was full of righteousness. At first glance, she looked very steady, if one ignored her slightly red earlobes. Shi Sui pondered for a moment, causing Xiang Yi's heart to skip a beat. Then he drawled, "You fell asleep as soon as you entered." That night, the room card was an accident. Xiang Yi had wanted to use the room card of another young hunk, but she accidentally entered Shi Sui's room by mistake. The way that Xiang Yi looked at him was truly disgusting. However, she immediately fainted. Shi Sui originally thought that she was acting and was about to smoke a cigarette to ask Xiang Feng to come and get her, but she soon woke up. It was the same face, but the look in his eyes was different. Shi Sui knew that she were no longer the same person. Hearing this, Xiang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. However, looking at Shi Sui's calm attitude, Xiang Yi felt that he knew something. Just as she was about to ask, someone knocked on the door. Bang bang bang. Following that was a familiar silly voice. "Little Xiang Yi, open the door. I know you're in there. Look at what you've done. Stupid girl, as your uncle, I must teach you a lesson today." It was Xiang Feng, who had rushed over after hearing the news. When he saw the trending topic, he almost fainted from anger. Creak! The door opened. Xiang Feng was about to criticize her as an elder, but he suddenly met the girl's red eyes and uneasy and pitiful appearance. "Xiang Feng. Actually I thought about it. It's not a big deal." Chapter 309. Xiang Yi was dumbfounded. "Huh." Xiang Feng said righteously, "Uncle, how can you not believe our little Xiang Yi? It's a misunderstanding." "It must be a misunderstanding. Okay, don't cry. Uncle will take you to eat your favorite junk food." Xiang Yi clenched her little fists. She was ready to be scolded, but she didn't expect such a turn of events. The little girl nodded dizzily. 10 minutes later, Sangchen couldn't wait to come out of his room. He wanted to see how Shi Sui had coaxed Xiang Feng. However, Shi Sui was in the living room, but Xiang Yi was nowhere to be seen. The bedroom door was open, and there was no sign of the girl. Sangchen gritted his teeth. "Where's my sister? How did she coax him? Did he coax her away?" Shi Sui. "Brother, before I answer your question, can you take a deep breath first?" Sangchen. Shi Sui. "Xiang Feng is here." These 4 words naturally drew hatred. Sangchen's eyebrows twitched violently. He took Sister E to eat junk food. Sangchen. Location. Every word seemed to be squeezed out from between his teeth. Shi Sui blinked. "Brother, you have to pay for information," Sangchen sneered. "I think you're still sleeping. You're not going to tell me? Then I'll beat you until you tell me." Seeing that the man was rolling up his sleeves, Shi Sui said. He also brought iced milk tea and cola for Sister E. Sangchen gritted his teeth. Deal. In the parking garage. Although Xiang Yi was the only one living in the manor, her brothers all had cars here. There were limited edition sports cars, motorcycles, and Xiang Feng's hovercar everywhere. In the most spacious off-road vehicle. "Come, little Xiang Yi. Eat this fried chicken while it's hot. And this strawberry cheese smoothie, it's amazing." Do you want an iced cola? Do you want to try drinking from 2 straws at the same time? You'll get double the happiness. Xiang Feng was frantically promoting. He had been busy with work recently. After all, he was also a domineering CEO. It had been a long time since he last visited his little niece. It wasn't easy for her to come here. Of course, she had to bring delicious food for her niece. His original plan was to punish Xiangyi first. Society didn't punish her, but he, her biological uncle, would do it himself, coaxing after hitting. Now he was just skipping the step of beating him up. There was nothing wrong with rounding it up. Xiangyi was like a little hamster, nestled in the back seat, eating happily. This cheap, thick, and especially rich smell of food additives and essence. It was so delicious. The girl who was calm and collected in front of outsiders let herself loose in front of her little uncle. She drank milk tea and cola, and her little legs fluttered in happiness. Uncle, you're so nice. At this moment, little uncle was the best person in the world. He didn't accept any rebuttals. Xiang Feng looked at her with eyes full of affection. Look at you, you're as thin as a piece of paper. Let me tell you, you should gain at least 5 kilograms. Little girls need to be white and chubby to be cute. Xiangyi's cheeks puffed up. I've already gained several kilograms. Xiang Feng picked through the food bag. This bag is the devil's spicy strips. The last time I ate spicy food, I cried. Should I open one for you? The little girl nodded like she was pounding garlic. The next second, the car window was knocked on. Xiangyi held her breath, thinking that there was an anti-peeping film on the car window. He couldn't see her, he couldn't see her. Xiang Feng was also nervous and accidentally blurted out. There's no one in the car, there's really no one. Xiangyi, who was completely unprepared. Chapter 310. Xiang Feng made up for it. It's just me. Really? Xiangyi? She looked at her little uncle, her eyes full of pain. Her big brother's cold, demonic voice came from outside the car window. I advise the two of you not to make any futile resistance. Open the door. Xiang Feng was quick-witted. Actually, I'm in the car next door. Xiangyi. She couldn't bear to look. She really couldn't bear to look. The fried chicken in her hand didn't even taste good anymore. I'll count to 3. If you don't open the door, don't blame me for being rude. Sangshan's voice was as cold as ice. 3. Before he could count, the uncle and nephew immediately opened the door. They didn't even dare to think about resisting, let alone think about it. The rich, oily aroma of food filled the car. Sangshan only felt his temples twitch a few times. He crossed his arms and looked down at the scene from above. Xiangyi had fried chicken in her left hand and spicy strips in her right. It was obvious she was enjoying her meal. Xiang Feng had milk tea in his left hand and cola in his right. It was obvious he was feeding Xiangyi. Heh. Sangshan suddenly sneered. Uncle and nephew, tremble, Xiang Feng was still responsible. He trembled as he said, It's not about little Xiangyi. I forced her to eat it. Sangshan. Inverting right and wrong. That's a double crime. Xiang Feng's eyes widened. We're both adults. What's wrong with eating some snacks? Sangshan, stubborn. That's a double crime. Xiang Feng was instantly terrified. I was wrong. I really know. I apologize to you on behalf of little Xiangyi and myself. Sangshan, hypocrisy. That's a triple crime. Xiang Feng? So everything I say is wrong. You come down. This sentence was directed at Xiang Feng. Xiangyi shrank behind him and looked at him with pleading eyes. Little uncle, don't go. Xiang Feng's eyes were filled with tears. Little Xiangyi, uncle loves you the most. Don't worry, uncle will never abandon you. We, uncle and nephew, will share riches and tribulations together. Let's share fried chicken and cola. Xiangyi was extremely touched. Her cherry lips opened and closed as if she wanted to say something. In just an instant, Xiang Feng decisively got out of the car from the other side and ran away like a wisp of smoke. The speed at which those legs moved was even faster than that of a rabbit's. If he doubled his speed, he would probably leave behind afterimages. She wondered what he had been through all these years. Xiangyi. So the love between family members will disappear, right? He turned his neck stiffly and met his eldest brother's gaze. The man's tall figure was hidden in the dim light of the garage. His legs were long and straight, and his whole body exuded a sense of oppression that had existed since he was young. He lowered his eyes, exuding a sharp and intimidating aura. "Little rabbit, continue shaking," Sangchen said slowly. "Eat. Why aren't you eating? Fried chicken won't taste good when it's cold." Xiangyi's eyes were filled with horror. Her hand trembled and she almost dropped the fried chicken. "Brother. Now you know how to call me brother? What were you doing earlier?" The corners of Sangchen's mouth curled downward, full of cold disdain. His irritable mood couldn't be suppressed and rose from his heart, especially when he saw the cold and spicy food. It was like a ball of fire was burning unscrupulously. His tone became harsh and cold. "Xiangyi, you've really grown up. You ran away from home without a word and didn't even say goodbye when you came home. You'd rather be comforted by that dog of a man, Sure Sui, than come find me? Do you still see me as your big brother?" Chapter 311. Xiangyi was dumbfounded. She remained motionless as she held the fried chicken and spicy sticks in her hand. A few seconds later, she gradually came to her senses. Big brother meant. She had a guess, but she wasn't sure. Sangchen kept a straight face and was about to continue lecturing her when the girl suddenly burped cutely. "Xiangyi, Sangchen. Indeed, carbonated drinks like cola shouldn't be drunk too much." With a hiccup interrupting, Sangchen turned his face and covered his thin lips with his hand. Xiangyi didn't know if it was her imagination, but she felt that her big brother was secretly laughing. "Ahem." Sangchen cleared his throat and said fiercely, "Do you know what you did wrong?" Xiangyi nodded. "Do you still dare to run away from home next time?" Xiangyi shook her head. Sangchen was satisfied. "Okay, let's eat fried chicken." Xiangyi looked at him in disbelief, thinking that she had heard wrong. Can I eat it?" the girl asked timidly. Sangchen was a little confused. Was he some kind of demon king? Why was she so scared of him every time she saw him? It was understandable that his little uncle and the others were scared of him. It was normal for men to fight when they didn't like each other. However, had he ever laid a finger on his little sister since she was young? Every time she would cry before he could scold her. He was so scared that he didn't even dare to speak loudly to her. Xiangyi took a bite of the fried chicken tentatively. Seeing that her big brother's expression was normal, she quickly took a few more bites. "Sob, I can't believe I dared to eat junk food in front of Big Brother in my lifetime." This scene could be written into the story of how she was weak and pitiful under the control of the Xiang family's Chan Chan. However, when she was about to eat the spicy sticks, her big brother mercilessly took them away. "You can't eat spicy or cold food." Seeing his little sister's face pucker up, Sangchen's heart softened. Then, he returned to his cold and heartless self. But won't these go to waste?" Xiangyi said softly. Sangchen was silent for 2 seconds. "Excuse me." "Huh. Make some space for me," the man said indifferently. He sat down beside her and expressionlessly took a bite of the spicy strip. "Tsk. It was indeed trash." Xiangyi looked at him eagerly. "Is it delicious?" Sangchen said with disdain. "It tastes awful." "Xiangyi, if it's disgusting, why don't you give it to me? Why do you want to torture yourself and me?" "That milk tea. Let's drink it at room temperature." "Xiangyi. What soul would there be left in iced milk tea and iced cola if they were placed at room temperature? What are you looking at? Don't look." Sangchen felt that his tone was too rigid and serious. He lowered his voice and said, "You're still acting. Don't you know that your period is coming soon?" Xiangyi. *****. Big brother actually remembered this. Sangchen silently ate a few mouthfuls of the spicy strip. The more he ate, the deeper his frown became. What the hell? Was this something that humans ate? His taste buds were very sensitive. He could only taste the additives in low-quality oil. "Big brother." The girl's delicate and weak voice sounded in his ears. It was small and timid. Xiangyi licked the corner of her lips. Did she really do something to you? If they didn't talk about it, it would become a knot between her and her brother for the rest of their lives. The siblings had a tacit understanding. Sangchen immediately understood who she was referring to. Thinking of that ridiculous scene, his jaw tightened. His long and narrow eyes outlined an earth-shattering coldness. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I can't tell who is my sister? Who is the imposter? Chapter 312. That night, Sangchen saw Xiangyi at the hospital. When he found out that his sister had been in a car accident, he pushed aside all his work and rushed to the hospital immediately. After watching over his sister for a few hours, he was a little sleepy and slept on the guest bed next to her. Later, the imposter woke up and looked at him on the edge of the bed. Sangchen opened his eyes and found that she was looking at him strangely. Sangchen didn't think much of it at first and asked in a low voice, "Are you hungry? Do you want some porridge?" The girl blinked and said in a sweet voice, "Brother, you're so nice." Sangchen immediately sensed that something was wrong. "Brother, I want you to sleep with me for a while." The girl climbed onto the bed nimbly and snuggled into the man's arms. She raised her hand and slid it to his sleeve, rubbing it ambiguously. That person was using the face of his closest sister, but she was saying the most disgusting words. Sangchen grabbed her neck. His body was covered in frost, and the coldness could crush everything. He was domineering and domineering. "Where did you take my sister?" The imposter's eyes widened in horror. He tightened his grip, and the imposter's face turned red. She felt suffocated at the last moment. Rationality returned. Sangchen retracted his hand, his chest heaving violently. "I'll ask again. Where's my sister?" The imposter realized that he wouldn't really do anything to her, so she pretended to be deaf and mute and refused to answer. Later, Sangchen took her to see the best psychiatrist abroad. He, who was a firm believer in materialism, even turned to theology for help. There was no progress until a Taoist priest, who had gone into seclusion for a long time, accepted a favor from Grandpa Xiang and personally came to a conclusion. External evil had entered her body. The common saying was that she had been possessed by something unclean. Sangchen smoked for most of the night before he accepted this reality. Later, he came up with a bunch of regulations to restrict Xiangyi's activities. However, there was no need to tell his sister this. Sangchen took out a tissue and handed it to her. "Wipe your mouth." Xiangyi did as she was told. Sangchen. "Xiangli told me about his conjecture, and I agree with him." Xiangyi was slightly stunned. In other words, Big Brother also felt that that person would come back? Since the main system exists to help you travel between different worlds, why can't you complain about such a bug? Can you still contact the main system? This reminded Xiangyi that she couldn't do it now, but Xiao Naofu might be able to. It seemed that it was time to pick up Xiao Naofu and bring him home. "I'll think of something." Now that the knot in her heart had been untied, she had a plan for what to do next. Xiangyi sniffled and said pitifully, "Big Brother, if only our whole family could wear it together." Sangchen frowned. "Why? Did someone bully you?" "Yes. I've been beaten so many times, especially in the Wuxia and Xianxia worlds." Perhaps in Xiangyi's heart, her big brother was the most trustworthy and dependable. She was like a childish child who would complain to her parents. "If you were there, it would definitely be our family beating others up." Sangchen. So what kind of image did his sister have of him? Xiangyi was still fantasizing. "Big brother, you're in charge of beating people up. Second brother is in charge of trapping people. Third brother is in charge of bullying people. Fourth brother is in charge of being fierce. And little uncle, is in charge of being a mascot?" She thought for a moment and said hesitantly, "How about we don't bring him along?" TSK. A soft, hoarse, and seductive sound was heard. Every inch of the man's sharp edges softened, stretching into a happy and rare gentle arc. Yet, Big Brother smiled. Chapter 313. Xiangyi's courage grew a little. She was so nervous that her toes curled up. She asked tentatively, "Then can I have a sip of milk tea?" "Just one sip, really." Sangchen raised his eyebrows. He pulled out a wet towel and patiently wiped his slender fingers clean. Just as Xiangyi was feeling disheartened, she heard two words that were like the sound of nature. "Drink it, Xiangyi!" Exclamation point. She happily picked up the milk tea and took a big sip with her cheeks puffed up. Sangchen watched as she drank a third of the milk tea. She really took a sip. Sangchen. Sensing her brother's gaze, Xiangyi put down the milk tea reservedly and gulped it down. She burped because she was too full. However, a bright smile bloomed on her face. From today onwards, she was the fiercest child in the Xiang family. Not only did she eat fried chicken in front of her brother, but she also drank milk tea in front of him. Sangchen looked at her sweet smile and swallowed the scolding that was about to come out of his mouth. Forget it, forget it. If she was naughty, then so be it. After all, his little sister needed to be pampered. Of course, he still needed to teach his little uncle a lesson. Sangchen thought of business and said calmly, "Don't worry about the rumors on Weibo. I'll take care of them." Xiangyi looked at him blankly. "You didn't look at Weibo?" "No." She didn't look at it after posting the recipe. Sangchen patted her head. "It's good that you didn't look at it. It should be back to normal tomorrow." He would never allow his little sister to take the blame for an imposter. Xiangyi protested in a low voice. "Brother, that's not how you pat someone's head." Sangchen narrowed his eyes. "Oh, if you pat my head so hard, I'll go bald." Sangchen stared at her for a few seconds and sneered. "So other than me, who else touched your head?" "Shui." Xiangyi's smile gradually disappeared. When she came back to her senses, she imitated her uncle's actions and jumped out of the car from the other side. She ran forward barefooted, almost tripping over Xiangfeng's shoes as she ran. Sangchen. He wanted to maintain his expressionless face, but he couldn't hold it in, and his thin lips curled up slightly. "Tsk, silly rabbit." Just as the public opinion was gradually fermenting and the entire internet was denouncing Xiangyi, a Weibo post from a well-known relationship blogger completely brought the matter of Xiangyi climbing into her brother's bed to a climax. Qinghe shang shengvi. As a girl, the first thing you have to learn is self-respect, self-cleanliness, and self-love. If you can't even do these things, how could other people respect and cherish you? Forgive me for being blunt, but the female celebrity who caused such an uproar today ignored ethics and crossed the bottom line of human nature. Such behavior is really shameful. Celebrities in the entertainment industry are public figures. Any bad behavior will be magnified and have a great impact on society. Think about it, if someone imitates the female celebrity's behavior, has a messy private life, and even acts inappropriately to her brother, uncle, and father, how much social unrest will that cause? Entertainment is paramount, but entertainment should also have a bottom line. I strongly recommend that artists with such bad behavior be banned. Keep the entertainment industry clean. This blogger often made sharp comments on social issues and had many fans. Once this Weibo post was posted, it was regarded as the Bible and truth by netizens, becoming the best weapon to attack Xiangyi. However, at 8 o'clock in the evening, Linshan Law Office's official Weibo post was cold and concise. Linshan Law Office. Regarding Ms. Xiangyi's statement is as follows. Chapter 314. Apart from that, there were no other unnecessary words. There was only a lawyer's letter with an official seal. In the lawyer's letter, there was only one person and one incident. Qin Wenyan was spreading rumors. Any of the following circumstances shall be deemed as fabricating facts to slander others as stipulated in the first paragraph of Article 246 of the Criminal Law. 1. Fabricating facts to damage another person's reputation and spreading them on the internet, or organizing or instructing people. This lawyer's letter could be said to be a precise strike. The netizens were stunned. How did it become a rumor? Wasn't spreading rumors something that only marketing accounts would do? Qin Wenyan was a celebrity. How could a celebrity spread rumors? Qin Wenyan was also dumbfounded. Her manager called to reprimand her. Can you be any more stupid? Even if you want to post it, you should find a marketing account and do it yourself. Aren't you asking for trouble? Don't you know that Big Brother Xiangyi is the top lawyer in the country? Qin Wenyan was speechless. Marketing accounts were not as influential as celebrities. She could only achieve the best results if she posted and deleted it instantly. Also, Xiangyi said that her brother hated her to the core. He wouldn't even talk to her, let alone stand up for her. But now why did Sangchen appear? He even gave her a lawyer's letter as a warning. Qin Wenyan cursed in her heart. Didn't she just post something on Weibo? Did it have to escalate to the level of the law? I'll handle it properly. Don't worry. With that, Qin Wenyan hung up the phone. After pondering for a while, she wrote a Weibo post and posted it. Qin Wanyan v. I'm very sorry for what happened. I didn't expect my phone information to be leaked. I also didn't expect that someone would hack my account and post my chat with Xiangyi. She and I used to be good friends. Even though we're drifting apart, I still send her my blessings. After the incident, I tried to contact her to apologize, but she didn't respond to me. As for spreading rumors, it wasn't my intention, and it wasn't my doing. The law is fair, but some people choose to use the law to defend justice, while others choose to use the law to protect their own interests. Forget it, there's nothing to say. I can apologize for my mistake, but Xiangyi, can you reply to me on WeChat? The attached picture was a chat between her and Xiangyi. She had been asking about Xiangyi's well-being the whole time, and after the instant deletion incident, she had indeed apologized in a sincere tone. However, Xiangyi didn't reply from beginning to end. Just as Qin Wanyan expected, the influence of an artist was much greater than any marketing account. The onlookers rushed over and were instantly brainwashed by her White Lotus tricks. Look, Qin Wanyan is so pitiful. Immortal Qin is so pitiful. Not only did her account get hacked, but the vase fairy still hasn't replied to her message. How shameless. Did anyone notice that Yin Yan's nickname for Xiangyi is AAA with a star? She really treats Xiangyi as a friend. Everything else aside, isn't it too disgusting not to reply? It's fine if she doesn't come back for a day or two, but she hasn't come back for many days. What's the meaning of this? Does she really think that she's an A-list celebrity after gaining some popularity from participating in a lousy variety show? Qin Wanyan's fans cursed and scolded her one after another. Unexpectedly, a few minutes later someone posted a picture. Qin Wanyan's IP address on Weibo had never changed. In other words, her account wasn't hacked at all. In an instant there was an uproar on the internet. Chapter 315. What kind of face-slapping was this? One moment she posted on Weibo, the next she exposed her IP address. It was as if she was waiting for her prey. Qin Wanyan, who saw that Weibo post, was completely dumbfounded. Am I being targeted? Why are they so vicious? How dare they embarrass me in front of so many netizens? Her manager was the one who was fuming mad. Ever since she started working with Qin Wanyan, her manager had realized that she was a troublemaker. Fortunately, her methods were very effective, and she was able to get the best resources every time. For example, she wasn't very popular at first, but she and Xiangyi had been hyped up a few times. She even created an alternate account to infiltrate Xiangyi's fan club, and turned a large number of fans to become her fans. She also made use of Xiangyi's stupidity to set off her fairy-like image, and obtained a lot of resources that didn't belong to her in the first place. Her manager felt that it wasn't a bad thing for an artist to be ambitious, and know how to plan for herself, so she let her be. She didn't expect that although she would be late, it would definitely happen. From now on, I'm confiscating your Weibo account. After yelling at Qin Wanyan, she hurriedly thought of a way to deal with public relations. Not long after, the manager used her own Weibo account to post a public relations statement that she had rushed out at the last minute. Fatty who loves to eat hot pot v. Public opinion can melt gold. Rumors are the greatest harm to artists. Those who know Qin Wanyan will naturally understand what kind of person she is. I hope everyone won't believe the rumors, spread them, or create them. Our team will use the law as a weapon to protect our precious artist and uphold justice. Thank you, everyone. Those with a discerning eye could tell that the post was sent to the fans. Sure enough, the fans said, "Of course we believe in our goddess Qin." However, the passers-by couldn't help but mock her. I'm laughing. Others use the law for their own personal gain, but you use the law to uphold justice? Ha 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 ha. This is a huge double standard. You're making it sound so dignified. Why don't you send a lawyer's letter? Learn from Vase Fairy's efficiency. Do you really think lawyers are that efficient in real life? Don't compare yourself to Lynch & Law Firm. That's the ceiling of the industry. Lawyer sanctions cases can be found online. He's really a big shot. I suggest that all law students, of course, you can memorize the entire text. The wind immediately changed direction. Some people began to doubt the authenticity of Qin Wanyan's screenshots, but even more people had preconceived notions. It's just a dogfight. Qin Wanyan is a White Lotus, and the Vase Fairy isn't anything good either. Come on, flirting with men and climbing into their beds were all exposed by this young actress herself. It's not like someone put a knife to her neck and said it. Stop washing. There was no way to wash it clean. Don't think that you can distort the truth just because you're powerful. The internet has memories. Is it that awesome to have a lawyer as a brother? Just wait and see, the Vase Fairy's family will never respond again. After all, this is considered a scandal of a wealthy family. Who in high society would be so shameless? The next second, someone exclaimed, "Holy *T. Xiangyi's big brother seemed to have personally responded. Search for Big Brother Tutu and you'll see." That night, countless netizens discovered Songchen's Weibo account. Tutu's big brother V. All the incidents are complications of amnesia. Our little bunny lost her memory after a car accident 376 days ago. Attached are the hospital records and the diagnosis of the psychiatrist and psychiatrist, as well as a comparison video of her before and after she lost her memory. Chapter 316. Netizens, huh? Amnesia? Nowadays, everyone received a large number of pieces of information every day. Weibo's trending topics changed many times a day. Sometimes netizens would even forget what they had seen. However, there were still those with good memories. They quickly explained to everyone that Dr. Xiang Li once said that Xiangyi had amnesia for a year. Everyone came to a sudden realization. So all the clues had been linked together? They clicked on the pictures. Songchen's pictures were just like him, logical, cold, and concise. Medical records, diagnoses, and screenshots of the hospital or the psychological clinic. Some were in Chinese, some were in foreign languages, and some were in electronic files. Every picture was taken with the time, which couldn't be faked. These could be said to be irrefutable evidence. Seeing these pictures, many netizens realized that they had been played like monkeys, and even used as a tool. Some impulsive ones had already rushed to Qin Wanyan's Weibo to start Zuan mode. There were also some who clicked on the second Weibo post, which was the surveillance video that Sangchen had posted. At the beginning of the video there was a warm scene. It looked like a family dinner. The eldest brother was Sangchen, the second brother Xiangli, the third brother Xiangqi, the fourth brother Xiangyu, and a simple-looking man who didn't look very smart. The whole family was good-looking. Xiangyi in the video had slightly rounder cheeks than she was now. She was wearing a lovely cotton dress, and her hair was draped over her shoulders. She smiled very gently. "Little Xiangyi, happy birthday. This is a gift from your uncle." The simple-looking man was the first to take out a gift box. "This is a lifetime VIP card for your favorite ice cream brand." In the next second, all four brothers looked at him with murderous gazes. Sangchen snorted coldly. Seeing that it was his sister's birthday, he didn't argue with him. The second to present a gift was Xiangyu. Sister, this is a game console I'm giving you. It's a limited edition. We can play games together in the future." Then came Xiangqi, who said in a disdainful tone, "Your dress is too old-fashioned. Here, wear the new dress I made for you. I've embroidered many little flowers for you." Then it was Xiang Li's turn. The man pushed his glasses and said gently, "Recently, I wrote a new artificial intelligence program. It's quite useful for checking recipes and matching nutritional information. I installed it in this stereo." The last one was Sangchen. The man's face was cold and his eyes were sharp. He threw a folded piece of white paper over in a domineering manner. "Write whatever you want." The others. "How could this be? Xiangchen, you're cheating." However, when faced with Songchen's frosty gaze, no one dared to say anything. All right, it's time to blow out the candles. Little Xiangyi, quickly make a wish." Xiangyi blinked and clasped her hands together. "I hope that our family can still be together next year." The video went black as it switched to the second half of the video. It was the conversation between Xiangyi and her brothers after she lost her memories. "You're my brother? You're my brother too? Then shouldn't you guys give me some pocket money? I just saw a bracelet studded with diamonds. It's so shiny and beautiful." It was clearly the same face, but from her demeanor to her tone, even her body movements were different. The comments section immediately turned into a huddle. "F***ck, I'm shivering. It feels like a supernatural event. Don't talk about acting. If the Vase Fairy had such acting skills, she would have won the Best Actress award long ago. Oh my god, I thought of a possibility. Maybe it's not amnesia. She's just been possessed by a weasel. Chapter 317. In just a few minutes, the weasel comment was liked and pushed to the top of the list. Delete it. Let me send a dog head. How can you say that? Have you forgotten that you don't need to become a spirit after the founding of the country? F***ck. I'm going to laugh myself to death in the comments section sooner or later. You guys can call her a fox spirit or a lotus spirit, but what the hell is a weasel spirit? It had to be said that Sanction was too fast, accurate, and ruthless. First, a lawyer's letter was sent to solve the source of the rumors. Then evidence was sent to clarify the truth of the rumors. With the video as evidence, 99% of the netizens believed that Xiangyi had lost her memory. No one would believe him if he said that he had transmigrated quickly, but the complications of amnesia made sense in medical science. In a sense, it was not a problem to interpret the imposter as a disease. The public opinion had reversed. Memory loss is really uncontrollable. To be honest, if this happened to a male celebrity, would everyone still be so agitated? A scumbag man could be forgiven, but a scumbag woman had to be nailed to the pillar of shame? Don't argue. If you argue, you are right. I went to check. The complications of amnesia are quite scary. Some people have a drastic change in temperament, some have multiple personalities, and some have suddenly become top students. I can only say that the world is full of strange things. Most people felt that even if Xiangyi did something after losing her memory, she would only hurt her own family. His family didn't say anything, so why should a group of outsiders worry about it? Let's scold Qin Wanyan first. In no time at all, Qin Wanyan's Weibo received more than 100,000 comments. This was the highest number of comments she'd ever received. Annual White Lotus Award winner Qin Wanyan. Is it fun to treat us like idiots? Shameless. What kind of good sister are you? Do you feel good stabbing people? Qin Wanyan's manager knew how to operate the fandom very well. From time to time, she would abuse her fans. She also implemented strict management of her fans. Not only was her fighting power amazing, but she was also extremely loyal. The fans were not convinced. They grabbed onto Xiangyi's remaining flaws and scolded. Then no matter what our immortal Qin did wrong, Xiangyi should have replied to the message. Then, everyone realized that Shui had updated her status. Shui v. Sister Yi's account was registered a year after she lost her memory. She hasn't used it since she recovered. Qin Wanyan's fans were speechless. It wasn't that he didn't want to reply, but that he didn't even use this account. If they were really good friends, how could Qin Wanyan not know about this? If she knew about it and still sent messages to the air every day, wouldn't she be a self-directed actor? The enraged netizens posted tens of thousands of comments, and even killed Qin Wanyan's account. Her fans were as quiet as chickens, and not many people responded to the big fans' calls for a fight. While the netizens were venting their frustrations on Qin Wanyan's Weibo, there were two groups of people who were very unique. This wave was made up of Xiangyi's new sister-in-law fans. They were mainly gathered under Songchen's Weibo post about the family gathering. Sorry, I've already registered my marriage with my husband Tutu. Bah! My child with Chun Chun is already 3 years old. I announced that I'm now Xiangyi's sister-in-law fan. I'm a big sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, third sister-in-law, and fourth sister-in-law. The other wave was naturally made up of Microscope Girl, Ace Picker, and Untimely Couple fans. Chapter 318. These fans naturally gathered under Shui's Weibo account. I'm screaming like a groundhog every day. Shui is so spoiled. He stared at his wife like a maniac during the live stream, and now he's protecting his wife like a maniac after the live stream. I'm going to faint from all the kowtowing. First, he took the lead to say that they're a couple. Then, he defended Sister E on Weibo. Shui's Sister E lock him up. In my imagination, they're already married with 2 children. Thank you. The most exciting thing for the couple's fans was a wave of unexpected sweets. Shui and Xiangyi were featured on the cover of My Style, which was a set of 9 grid photos that attracted countless fans. Shui was dressed in a black retro suit and had a rare seductive look on his face. However, he managed to hold his charm well. The solo photos included the scene of him biting a petal, the elegant and noble moment when he cut the steak, and the extremely invasive close-up of his gaze under the candlelight. The Sure Sui sisters were at the forefront. Sure Sui is so handsome that he's like a shark. This man is so good at taking photos. He's the most demonic vampire in history. I'm at the scene. I'm that petal. Sure Sui's kiss is so domineering. I'm so shy. Xiangyi was dressed in a gorgeous cream yellow dress. Her makeup was clear and her eyes were clean. She looked exactly like the princess on the run that was trending on the internet recently. The solo photos included a close-up of her smile, a moment of her holding the hem of her dress while strolling in the forest, and a fairy tale-like scene of a deer kissing her fingertips. Xiangyi's fans immediately came forward to report. Wow, Sister E is such a peerless fairy. E, Mommy loves you. You look so obedient when you're feeding the deer. E, Mommy forbids you from showing your collarbone. Cover it up. Your old mother is so worried. However, the most popular photo was the cover of the couple. The first photo was of the noble-like vampire and the innocent the little princess looking at each other for the first time in the forest. In the second photo, the scene was changed to the castle. Sure Sui was holding the back of Xiangyi's head and was about to kiss her. The third picture was a reflection in the mirror. His slender and well-defined large hand was intertwined with her slender and milky white hand, and their fingers were tightly intertwined. The comments section exploded. Not only were the fans stunned, even the passers-by were stunned. I don't care. Wedding photos. This is the wedding photo. Mom, I'm serious. Untimely super. Level. Sweet. Why are you holding hands? Do you think I'm lacking in traffic? Kiss. Give me a kiss. Shuringdi, can you do it? If you can't, let me do it. Seeing that this Weibo post was extremely popular, it didn't take long for the official Weibo account to release a video. It was edited with behind-the-scenes footage from the shooting. With the addition of filters, the colors were retro and classy. Sophia's aesthetic was enough to make people slap the table in praise. As for the music, he chose a piano and violin ensemble. The video had a complete plot, from the vampire and the little princess's first encounter to their passionate love, to their sinking into darkness. At first, the music was a soothing and melodious melody, but then it turned into a passionate tango. Slowly, it turned lingering and affectionate, and then it turned gloomy. With the addition of filters and music, the plot was so torturous that it made people's hearts clench. However, at the end of the video, the man held the back of the girl's head in his arms and pulled her into his arms. The camera deliberately gave him a close-up. His Adam's apple rolled sexily as he licked the corners of his pale lips. The video came to an abrupt end. Untimely Super CP fans. It's New Year. It's New Year. Someone set off 100,000 firecrackers for me. Sisters, let's flood the screen with me. He did it. He did it. Sure Sui finally did it. Chapter 319. It had to be said that the chemistry between Sure Sui and Xiangyi was too strong. Even if they weren't fans of the couple, they would definitely buy this issue's cover. There were even fashion bloggers who praised this set of 9 palaces to the sky. Hades's designs never disappoint. The precise tailoring and flowing folds give this escaped princess dress a new definition. The details are full of charm. I believe that not only the deer in the woods, but every woman will be deeply mesmerized by it. Sure Sui's 3-piece black suit was designed by the designer George in the 90s. It's a true out-of-print vintage ready-to-wear suit. After the makeover, it looks more gentlemanly and elegant. It's a seamless fusion of classic and modern fashion. Sure Sui is indeed a famous clothes hanger. He has his own unique charm. My style is as brilliant as ever. Miss Sophia has shown us her excellent American businesswoman skills. She has changed the overly sweet style of the traditional 2-person magazine cover into a dark retro style that returns to the magnificence and extravagance of the medieval aristocratic style. The interpretation of the two models doesn't make the film appear superficial. Instead, it brings about a sweet and sadistic story. Seeing that the popularity and reputation of the magazine had skyrocketed, the headquarters of the magazine immediately decided to print more copies of this issue. As for the part where the little princess flirted with the vampire, it was used as the final trump card. In the manner. After some discussion, the livestream was restarted. Considering that the clarification on Weibo might not be seen by every netizen, Li Jinyu felt that it would be better to use a livestream to clarify the matter a second time. In addition, in order to ease public opinion, he first released a topic that was enough to arouse everyone's emotions. Dear viewers, this Friday at 9 o'clock in the evening, the edited version of Two Under One Roof will premiere on all major video websites. I hope that everyone can give us some face. When the time comes, click on it and leave a comment. Our production team will kneel down and thank you. Li Jianyu spoke in a cadence as if he was performing a crosstalk. Because he was easily frightened, he had also gained a lot of daddy fans since the start of the live stream. In an instant. Son, the ground is cold. 2 hours of kneeling should be enough. Daddy wants to see a slideshow, can you arrange it quickly? Watching other shows, the director treats me like an audience member. Watching Two Under One Roof. I treat the director like a trash. There's only one word to describe it. Awesome. Ha 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 popped up on the bullet screen. The atmosphere was very harmonious. However, when the camera panned to Xiangyi, it was inevitable that there would be some scolding. These people were a step too slow and didn't see Lin Chen Law Firm and Songchen's 2 Weibo posts. They were still mocking him in a sarcastic manner. No one would dare to refute that the Vase Fairy is a dumb artist, right? Ha ha ha, I've never seen a celebrity who's trending every day and doesn't have many fans protecting her. Not only do they have no fans, but their agency is also dead. This couple's fans are still bragging about how they're well matched in terms of social status. Is there anyone who doesn't know that the Vase Fairy signed an overbearing contract with the company? The company will take 90% of the profits, and the remaining 10% will be called personal income tax. The worst part is that you have to pay 100 million yuan for terminating the contract. Xiang Feng was originally watching the live stream with his headphones on and wasn't in the frame. However, as soon as he saw the foul language posted by the netizens, he immediately retorted. After a few words, Xiang Feng received a notification: frowny face, your account has been banned. Xiang Feng. Chapter 320. I, the domineering CEO, the owner of the Xingchen app, have been banned again? What kind of stupid review is this? Stupid restriction. Stupid programmer. Deduct their salaries. Deduct their salaries. Xiang Feng was infuriated when he heard his little niece's soft and gentle voice. Uncle, do you drink milk tea? Xiang Feng was speechless. Rubbish live stream. I'm not watching it anymore. Happy drink, here I come. After Xiangyi adjusted her mood, she began to prepare the milk tea. The Xiang family had a sweet taste, especially her uncle, who loved sweets the most. Xiangyi had prepared all kinds of ingredients in advance. After the live stream began, she simply boiled the milk tea in a small pot and explained the process while cooking. Shi Sui and Sangchen remained silent most of the time, occasionally speaking up to support her. The girl's tone was gentle and her movements were also unhurried, which was pleasing to the eye. First, she boiled the black tea until it was bright orange-red. Then, she poured it into a container prepared by the side and filtered the tea leaves. Then she boiled the milk until it was warm and melted a few pieces of rock sugar. Xiangyi stirred and said, My brother and Shi Sui don't like things that are too sweet, so the milk tea I made isn't very sweet. The ingredients are a bit sweeter, so if you want to have a sweet taste, you can add more ingredients. In Two Under One Roof, Xiangyi's presence was actually very insignificant apart from her cooking. She always seemed aloof from worldly affairs. She wouldn't steal the limelight, nor would she compete with the guests for anything. However, such a personality was both good and bad. Without a presence, it often gave people the impression that she was easy to bully. This was also one of the reasons why so many anti-fans were unscrupulously criticizing her. Many netizens suddenly realized that Xiangyi seemed to have spoken the most tonight while cooking the milk tea. This also allowed more people to recognize her. Just listening to her speak made them feel inexplicably healed. Li Jianyu promptly cued her. Sister E, some viewers are asking if you bought the ingredients or made them yourself. These? Xiangyi raised her hand and pointed at the ingredients section. She had prepared a sumptuous meal, including pudding, taro balls, mashed taro, roasted immortal grass, red beans, oats, purple rice. Of course, there was also the soul of milk tea pearls. I just did it casually. The method is actually very simple. Take pearls for example. Boil brown sugar in water, pour it into tapioca starch, and stir it into a ball like kneading dough. Then roll it into a small ball and cook it slowly. The method of making taro balls is to steam sweet potatoes until they are cooked, press them into a paste, and then add an appropriate amount of sweet potato powder. The netizens in the live stream. I've already recorded it. I want to cook it too. My brain can learn as soon as it's learned. My hands can't do as soon as it's done. Boo-hoo, Xiangyi is actually so gentle. I like listening to her speak so much. It's so comfortable. Pretty sister. Please turn on your mic more in the future. I like it even if you tell me the recipe. Li Jinyu sighed with emotion as he watched Xiangyi introduce the milk tea snacks to the audience, and the audience's favorable impression of her increased. Live streaming was a double-edged sword. Some people gained countless fans after live streaming, while others lost their fans after live streaming. Perhaps he had been wrong all along. He had thought that Xiangyi would be low-key so as not to attract hate, but now it seemed that letting her express herself naturally was far better than any other method to attract fans. Ding-dong. The electric cooker's timer sounded. The milk and black tea were mixed and boiled to about 80 degrees before stopping. Xiangyi first filled a cup for her little uncle. Xiang Feng hurriedly stuffed it into Songchen's hands like a hot potato. Little Chan, you drink first. No wonder he was the #1 lackey in the Xiang family. Chapter 321. Sangchen took it with a straight face and took a sip. The aroma of the tea was refreshing and rich in milk. It had a smooth and refreshing texture. The sweetness was just right for him. Although Sangchen didn't say anything, he silently took 2 more sips. The netizens. It must be delicious. Xiangyi's fans even typed with tears in their eyes. I didn't expect that one day I would not only crave Xiangyi's body but also his milk tea. Xiang Feng was given the second cup and excitedly added a bunch of condiments. He didn't even use a straw and simply gulped it down. Pearl taro pudding sweetness plus. It feels so good. He looked at Shi Sui provocatively, thinking to himself, finally, there's someone behind me. My little niece scooped it for me first. In the next second, Shi Sui smiled slightly and raised his hand to add some condiments for himself. However, his hand suddenly trembled, and the spoon fell into the bowl. There was a look of helplessness in his dark eyes. Xiangyi hurriedly said, I'll add some for you. What do you want? Thank you, sister-y. Shi Sui looked at her innocently and gratefully. 2 spoonfuls of taro pudding, thank you. Xiangyi added 2 spoonfuls of taro pudding for him and even placed a straw in it. She then carefully handed it to Shi Sui. She almost fed it to him herself. Xiang Feng's eyes widened as if he had been struck by lightning. In the live stream. Ha ha ha. Who is this silly man? Why is he so funny? I seem to have heard Xiangyi call him uncle before. He should be a relative. I don't believe it. Xiangyi and Chan are obviously not on the same level as him. How can they be family? The netizens' disdain for Xiang Feng was almost overflowing. On Weibo, Tomato Entertainment's latest comment received tens of thousands of scoldings. In fact, it wasn't that Xiangyi didn't have any fans, but her fans were kind enough to criticize Tomato Entertainment instead of arguing with the haters. Even Qin Wanyan had a manager to defend her. No matter how bad the public relations effect was, at least her fans wouldn't be disappointed. But what about Tomato Entertainment? The company pretended to be dead. Their last post was a Weibo post about C7's new album, being released on the music platform 2 weeks ago. Xiangyi's fans were completely enraged. Trash company, all you know is to make money. Daily question. Did Tomato Entertainment go bankrupt today? What kind of agency are you? Is the PR department dead? Just as the scolding reached its peak, Xiangyi's manager, Nan suddenly posted on Weibo. Little on envy, everyone stop scolding. The dog company is going to be a human soon. When the fans saw that he was still standing by the company, they were furious. I think you don't want to be a human anymore. As Xiangyi's manager, what have you done? The next second, Tomato Entertainment's official Weibo account, which had been dead for a long time, finally came back to life. Tomato Entertainment v 10 minutes ago. Our company and Xingchun Entertainment have completed all the procedures. Now the company's business and artists are all under Xingchun Entertainment. Our company will be starting a business restructuring today. The legal person of the new company is Xiangyi V. Hello President E, please take care of us in the future. All the fans were dumbfounded. They were dumbfounded. How did our sister E become President E? In the live stream, Xiang Feng received a notification from his assistant, telling Sister E that the acquisition of the company had been completed. Xiang Yi was stunned. Seeing this, Xiang Feng was furious. What's with your expression? Is it that difficult to acquire a company? Your uncle is a domineering CEO. Chapter 322. Uncle, you've acquired my management company? The girl snapped back to reality and looked at Xiang Feng in disbelief. Xiang Chun glanced at him. She couldn't be bothered to diss him for being so inefficient. Xiang Feng put his hands on his hips and said arrogantly, "Aha, I've also registered your name as the legal representative. From now on you'll be your own boss." In the live stream, some netizens stubbornly refused to believe it and ridiculed. I'm dying of laughter. Do you know how much it costs to acquire a company? Tomato Entertainment may be a small company, but it's worth at least a few billion yuan. How can you buy it just like that? You're bragging to the heavens. The netizens who had already learned about the new drama on Weibo retorted. You're not convinced? Keep it to yourself. Our sister E is fair, rich, and beautiful. She has her brother to protect her and her uncle to dote on her. That's how domineering she is. The live stream was in an uproar, and some netizens who claimed to be professionals stepped forward to say, frowny face, this financial practitioner is laughing. Fixed assets and liquid assets are two different concepts. Billionaires don't mean that they can casually take out 100 million yuan in cash. This silly guy said that he wanted to buy a company worth a few billion yuan? Does he mean that he has at least billions or even tens of billions of yuan in assets? This comment garnered the approval of many people. Exactly, how can such a silly guy be a domineering CEO? If Sangchen said it, it would be more believable, but since it was Xiang Feng, no one believed it. Just as this small group of haters thought that they had grasped the truth, and were ridiculing Xiang Yi in the live stream, Xiang Yi's fans, who had been quietly waiting for them for a long time, finally unhurriedly moved the Weibo post from Tomato Entertainment over. Tomato Entertainment 10 minutes ago, our company has. The haters? The haters. TSK. That silly guy is actually a domineering CEO? That was already frustrating enough. However, Xiang Yi's fans had become mischievous at some point. They deliberately popped up at this moment to mock. Congratulations to our sister E for turning from a social animal to a boss. Xiang Yi, it's impossible for her to work. She can only be a domineering, so I want to shout. Little uncle is awesome. Okay, after yelling, he was still so naive. Using a spoon to scrape the pearls and immortal roasting grass that can't be sucked up from the bottom of the cup is so realistic. All the trolls. Damn it, we've always been the ones angering others. I didn't expect to be angered today. On the sofa, Shi Sui, who had been sitting beside Xiang Yi and drinking milk tea obediently, suddenly asked, Sister E, are you going to work hard to sign artists and start your career in the future? Everyone knew that Shi Sui's contract with Xingchun Entertainment was about to expire. Xiang Feng was confused. You're trying to jump ship right in front of me, the overbearing CEO. Xiang Yi was a little embarrassed. I don't think anyone wants to sign with my company. She knew a little about management and had practiced in the world of transmigration. However, it wasn't easy to sign an outstanding artist. The trolls caught their breath and typed angrily. At least you have some self-awareness. At this moment, the sound of an argument suddenly came from outside the living room. We came first, we want to see sister first. I won't let you. You can choose whether you want to fight one-on-one or gang up on her. The live stream. Why do I feel like it's Chunzai from C7? Isn't the C7 boy group a ready-made artist? All the trolls. I'm so angry. Chapter 323. Xiang Yi's eyelashes fluttered as she stood up. We have guests, I'll go take a look. The cameraman followed closely behind her. The girl opened the door, and the cameraman happened to capture the scene outside. Sure enough, it was the 7 members of C7. The group's top celebrity, Jiang Chen, was arguing childishly with someone. Standing opposite him was the ruffian from Mingxi Boys High School a few days ago, Rong Huai. Can't you be reasonable? Jiang Chen clenched his fists in anger. Rong Huai still had a crew cut, and he shook his legs arrogantly. I already said that you can choose whether it's a one-on-one or a group fight. I'm not even afraid, so what are you afraid of? Trash. Before he could say the word trash, he noticed Xiangyi smiling behind the door and changed his words. Spicy chicken tastes good. Zhang-chun. Do you have? Are you crazy? His captain, Shanxiai, blocked his words with his hand. Shanxiai was the standard pretty boy, and he flashed a clean smile at Xiangyi. Hello, sister. Ahem, Zhang-chun wanted to say. Do you have any Sichuan restaurants to recommend? Zhang Chen's ears turned red. He didn't expect his sister to see him arguing with someone. Boo-hoo, he would definitely be hated. Rong Hui was also a little uncomfortable. He whistled and pretended to be calm, but his eyes kept sneaking glances at Xiangyi, revealing a guilty conscience. Unexpectedly, when Xiangyi opened her mouth, her tone was still gentle and soft. I made milk tea, do you want to drink it? Rong Hui was the first to speak. Yes. C7. Me too. The two sides exchanged glances and their swords were drawn. Xiangyi said helplessly, everyone has a share. Come in first. Rong Hui was tall, strong, and experienced in fighting. He pushed Zhang Chan and the others aside and was the first to enter the living room. C7. We were too careless. He actually beat us to it. However, even if we can't beat this troublesome brat, can we not beat our own members? Thus, the 7 of them squeezed together at the door to see who would enter first. If not for Xiangyi coming over to persuade them, they would probably have fought. It could be said that this group of souls were like plastic. Because there were too many people, the sofa could not accommodate all of them, so the younger brothers all sat on the floor. Sitting on the sofa, Xiangfeng, Sangchen, and Xiangfeng looked down at everyone. Xiangfeng was envious. If I were 10 years younger, my skin would be as good. Sangchen. Heh. Shui chuckled. Do you two think you're any better? You're still an old man who's nearing his 30s like me. Sangchen. Shui. The whole living room was shrouded in a gloomy atmosphere. The younger brothers were shivering. Even Rong Hui moved closer to Zhang Chun. Zhang Chun wanted to protest, but Rong Hui gave him a stare. What are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll beat you up. He was so fierce. However, when they huddled together, they didn't seem to be that scared anymore. This was probably the legendary huddling together to keep warm. Milk tea is ready. Add whatever you want. Xiangyi poured a cup for each of them. The hot milk tea seemed to have the power to bewitch people. The netizens in the stream wanted to cry but had no tears. Orders for milk tea on all major takeout platforms have skyrocketed. Everyone, please pay the advertising fee to Sister E. Thank you. Little Vase, stop it. Fatty Rua and I were already 2 people before watching the stream. Hey, trash streamer. You only know how to cook milk tea every day. Can't you create a couple? Ahem, an untimely and beautiful couple. Want to know more? Chapter 324. The fans secretly extended their little fingers to test the waters. Ignorant netizens. Huh? Untimely? Let's search to see what's going on, then we accidentally fell into the trap. The main character is the one who started the love line. If you don't, you're not a surfer. In the living room, Rong Hui was like a little tyrant as he went up to grab 2 cups of milk tea. He was the kind of hooligan who wouldn't drink if he didn't. Zhang Chan protested softly. That's not right. Sister poured a cup for each of us. Then Rong Hui smiled sinisterly and flexed his muscles. Are you asking for a beating? Zhang Chan was speechless. #pretend nothing happened and pretend to be a good boy who didn't like milk tea. The next second Rong Hui's forehead was knocked. He hissed and raised his head fiercely, like a frivolous and wild wolf puppy. He met Xiangyi's calm and gentle gaze. He rubbed his forehead aggrievedly. Why did you hit me? Xiangyi said. 1 cup for each of us. You can give the extra cup to brother Zhang Chan. Rong Hui seemed to have heard a joke. Him? You want me to call him brother? It had always been others who called him brother. Okay. Xiangyi sat cross-legged on the ground, resting her chin on her hands and looking at him quietly. His eyes met hers. 1 second, 2 seconds. In the 3rd second, Rong Hui couldn't take it anymore and looked away, his ears turning red. F***ck. This woman isn't reserved at all. How could she stare at him so intently? Even he was embarrassed by his stare. He reluctantly pushed a cup of milk tea to Zhang Chan. Jiang Chun was speechless. Sob, sob, sob. Big sister is so nice and gentle. He took a sip. The hot milk tea warmed his stomach and warmed his heart. It was slightly sweet and had a light tea fragrance. It was a perfect match with red beans and oats. However, it must be very high in calories. He definitely couldn't drink too much. He took a sip. Should I have a little more? By the time Jiang Chun came to his senses, he had already finished the cup of milk tea. The young man hit his head in frustration. Rong Hui sneered. You've already drunk it, what's there to regret? Didn't you get any joy from my milk tea? Jiang Chun was in a daze, pondering Rong Hui's words. That's right. Big sister's cooking had this kind of magical power that made people feel warm and happy. Wasn't this the true essence of tasting food? Jiang Chun felt enlightened. Younger brother, you are really a philosopher. A thinker. His words are too profound and too reasonable. Rong Hui thought. I'm afraid he's a fool. Here, add some more taro balls for me. Rong Hui ordered him casually. Jiang Chun followed his order obediently. The two of them had completely forgotten that they were still streaming. Little did they know that their interaction did not escape the sharp eyes of the netizens. Ah, top traffic arrogant young man, so sweet, so sweet. I'm sorry, although this couple is a cult, I can't help but stand there for a second. Zai Chen's aloofness is just a persona, but his true self is the naive and sweet one. Ha ha ha. He's being bullied by Rong Hui's younger brother. After chatting for a while, Xiangyi asked about the purpose of her brother's visit. Rong Hui cleared his throat. Jiang Chun had added a little too many taro balls for him just now, so his throat was sticky. I plan to take the arts exam and enroll in the film academy. I heard that you've started a company. Can I work there? As if he was afraid that Xiangyi would reject him, his eyes lit up. Sign me up. I won't let you regret it. Chapter 325. Although the young man spoke a little hurriedly, she could feel his firm conviction in his tone. He really trusted Xiangyi. Even though she knew that it was childish, she still couldn't help but be influenced by his passion. Xiangyi adjusted her sitting posture and sat upright. She did not look down on Rong Hui because of his young age. Instead, she said, Rong Hui, I'm very happy that you have a new study plan. However, signing a contract with a management company is not a trivial matter. I hope you can seriously consider it for a while. Rong Hui panicked. Hey, do you despise me? Xiangyi said gently. No, I'm just standing from an objective point of view. You're still underage and legally you're a... She looked at her brother for help. Sangchen crossed his long legs and said indifferently, a person without civil capacity usually refers to a minor under the age of 8 or a minor who can recognize his own behavior. Rong Hui gritted his teeth and stared at Xiangyi with his dark eyes. There was a mix of anger and grievance in his eyes. Sister, I know what I'm doing. He pulled out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket, which seemed to have been torn from a notebook. He then placed it in front of Xiangyi with a sullen face. She unfolded it and saw that the word contract was written on the top. His signature was written on the bottom right corner. The handwriting was crooked, and it was even uglier than a dog's scrawl. In the live stream, F***ck sand got into my eyes. This is too easy to cry. Rong Hui really trusts Sister Tutu. This is equivalent to entrusting his future to her. I'm about to cry. I laughed out loud again when I saw Rong Hui's handwriting. Ha 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 ha, it's so ugly. Xiangyi stared at Rong Hui with her clear doe eyes. Rong Hui was extremely nervous. His hands that were hanging by the sides of his trousers were clenched into fists, and his palms were sweating profusely. He was afraid that Xiangyi would criticize him indiscriminately like his parents. He was even more afraid that Xiangyi would reject him. However, Xiangyi said, Rong Hui, thank you for believing in me. The young man was stunned. I'll accept this contract, but I think we should both have the opportunity to choose, right? You chose me. Similarly, if you get into the film academy, I will sign you. During this period, both of us have the right to go back on our words. What do you think? From the beginning to the end, she was gentle and soft. She didn't tell him what to do with his life, but he was given a choice. Rong Hui's Adam's apple bobbed slightly, as if he had just drunk a sports drink and was about to play a game. Okay, I promise you. We'll choose both sides. He hurriedly added, you can't go back on your word. Otherwise I. Rong Hui thought for a long while, but he still couldn't think of any powerful threats. He laid his eyes on Jiang Chun and strangled him from behind. I'll beat him up. Jiang Chun, who had been innocently implicated, was speechless. Xiang Yi was amused by him. You're too shameless. The live stream was also filled with ha 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 ha. Hostage Jiang Chun raised his hand, indicating that he was going to speak. Rong Hui loosened his grip a little. Jiang Chun said, Elder sister, I've signed with Tomato Entertainment for 5 years. Do you want to sign with me for a few more years? Shun Xiai said, 5 years is nothing. Elder sister, my contract is very long. I've signed for 10 years. The others said, Elder sister, renew my contract. I'm cheaper. I can do it too, elder sister. Pick me, pick me. The netizens were speechless. What? Little brothers, is there anyone who would fight to sign a slave contract like you?